Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Doctor Who live stream. In today's live stream, we're diving into the Sea Devils and Silurians tier list to celebrate Legend of the Sea Devils. Once again, I'm joined with Luke.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure on this fine bank holiday talking all things reptilian, I guess. So while I wait for a few people to join, what have you been doing? How have you been occupying yourself since our last stream, which feels like ages ago?
Yeah, it does feel like it's been a fair while, even though it's only been, a week and a bit. I think it was
Yeah.
Friday, wasn't it? So
I think so.
I expect bank holiday weekends just drag on forever, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Especially the Easter one.
Definitely does. It like you said before, it's like the holiday of nothing.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah, like you've got the Friday feeling like the Saturday, and then it just drags on, and then the Monday feels like the Sunday all over again. And
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
strange.
yeah, I think it threw you off a bit because you thought we were going tomorrow at first.
Yeah, I
with
thought it was
this,
tomorrow we're doing it, but hey, here we are.
yeah. You almost got us a day later.
Yeah, but we might make up for it this week. Who knows? We've got a few planned.
Yeah, we've got quite a few saved up, haven't we? I guess.
Yeah, in the bank, ready to go. I guess.
Yeah, it's just a question of when we can get them fired off, I suppose. But yeah, certainly
On
got
the
no
ever-growing
shortage.
list.
Yeah, got no shortage of mainly Big Finish fans. Actually, yeah, it's three different Big Finish fans that we've got planned out and prepared. It's just a question of when we can go live with them, really. So yeah, but for now, Sea Devils and Silurians. But first, how have you been?
Been all right. Been excited for the Sea Devils. It felt like Christmas yesterday, waiting for the episode. But I'm not going to say what I think of the episode. You know what I think of the episode. But I've been all right. Been rewatching Hungry Earth and Cold Blood today, ready for this. Had Mel Round filmed a Mel review, so if you can check it out, where I actually picked the items this time. Much to her questioning why I've picked that, but it was fun to do.
You've got to mix it up every once in a while, haven't you?
I mean, the last item I thought I'd be cancelled, but it seems to be going fine. It's fine.
I suppose you went for ones where you could get more mixed opinions, didn't you? Rather than the
yeah.
Whereas when she's picking, she's going for ones she likes more. So
yeah, it looks cool.
More positive review. Or it's a duck.
Or it's a duck, yeah. As Matt Smith.
Yeah.
What a weird thing to have, but there we go. But
if any doctor would be a duck, it's the 11th.
Really?
I feel like it.
That's a good question. What a dog would be most
if a doctor was a duck, who would it be?
I feel like Jodie would fit a duck well, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
That sort of hyperactiveness there. But mainly, yeah, she's a bit quack. I think mainly for me, Big Finish. Last week was a big week for Big Finish releases. The Outlaws, Doctor Who Unbound, throwback listening to Cloisters of Terror. It was just a lot going on. It was a pleasure to dive into Big Finish at my own leisure, really, because it's Easter holidays. Got no real responsibility, so I'm like, right, I can just indulge in listening to Doctor Who audios.
Yeah. I suppose that's the other reason it feels like it's been a while, because with Easter holidays, we have a bit less to do, and so time drags out a bit more, I suppose. We're not being kept as busy.
But yeah, it's been a joy. It's been a joy. How about yourself? What have you been doing?
We're doing a few re-listens. I think halfway through Romantic Crime at the moment. Like we say, Outlaws dropped last week, so I finished the Outlaws itself, but not the miniaturist yet. It's a bit confusing, isn't it? Talking about the Outlaws as a story, but also as a set. Yeah, so we'll save our thoughts on that for an upcoming video. But so far, so good. I think it's safe to say Stephen Noonan's definitely gone up a few notches since my first impression at the.
I think for me, it was the behind the scenes little video where I was like, you know what, this is actually going to be something quite special.
Yeah, I think he really has captured Hartnell very well.
It's the outburst where I'm like, that's Hartnell.
Mm.
Well, I'm like, oh, that's
and
really good.
his passion for it. He's really studied the role very intensely, and so does get a lot of those little mannerisms and quirks in there. Whereas, say with Bradley or Herndl's performances, they sort of do their own take on those First Doctor mannerisms. Whereas this is more, I don't want to say a copy because then that makes it sound inferior, but it's more authentic to the way Hartnell
He's even
portrayed it.
got the fluffs, and I don't know if that's like in the script or that's actually Stephen Noonan. Probably Stephen Noonan, and I appreciate like the little fluffs.
Yeah, I think like it's instead of calling her Sheriff, he calls her Cheryl at one point.
Or I swear I heard Chesterton within it.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, that's really
I think
nice.
he's talking about the chest of the taxes, isn't it?
Yeah,
it all like takes some while to get around to it. But I don't know, sometimes feel like maybe it's done a bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that maybe it was one fluff too many in the story, but yeah, certainly it helped it feel authentic. And I suppose especially around this time, because it would be towards the end. This is between these savages and the war machines now, so that was certainly when Hartnell was deteriorating sadly to the point where he couldn't do the show for much longer, and so it makes sense to have a few more fluffs in there, I guess. But it's you've got to be careful not to send it up too much, I guess.
Yeah, but there are moments where he does send it up quite a bit, which I think is Hartnell, especially when he's telling about King Richard to the sheriff character.
Yeah,
like retelling. That felt very send it, but I was like, you know what, Hartnell's done that in the show, so yeah, I could forget it.
Yeah, it's sent in the same way that Hartnell would send it up. It's very authentic to his performance. I think the way Nick Briggs described it in the extras is perfect. He says it's the same piece of music played on a slightly different instrument.
Okay.
And I think that's probably the most accurate way to describe it, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
You get to, and also, I did end up going physical in the end, stylish one. I remember you asking me. Yeah, I got the bundle with that and Second Doctor Beyond War Games. So, yeah, it was just sort of like a last minute decision because I thought I'm getting all these other ones physical. I might as well fill in that first and Second Doctor gap with the relaunch. I don't know how long I'll keep it up with the physical ones, but at least for these two, with it feeling more of an event, I think it made sense to go physical for these ones.
You're being converted again.
Okay. I'm being dragged back into the pit, into the black hole.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we'll delve into that at some point.
Yeah, we don't have to do that just yet. I'm sure you had enough Rufus Hound in the Outlaws to keep you occupied for a while.
Yeah.
I think the monk brings out the most Hartnell side of Stephen Noonan's performance, I'd say. Like, I think the story is probably at its best when those two are interacting. But yeah. We'll save any further Outlaws discussions for a later stream.
Yes, yeah.
So let's have a look in the chat. Hello, stylish one.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Monk Cactus, and hello, Tom Garb.
Hello to everyone. Hello, lurkers, if you're there.
Hello, all.
Hello.
Come all to our Silurian and Sea Devil exhibition. See the wonders of the prehistoric worlds.
My God, is Vorg here?
Carnival of Monsters. Roll up, roll up, roll up.
Roll up for the show of your life. Oh, dear. Have you heard the Sea Devil?
Their funny little habitats. Poke them with a stick and watch them dance.
Oh. Have you heard the Sea Devil version of the Wello Man? Yes, I have. I enjoyed it a lot. And it was a good bit of branding having like a TikTok person, like, you know, showing our age here. But I'm not on TikTok, but I'm glad that it was getting people excited for it.
Yeah, I think I saw that, but I didn't actually sit down and watch it. So I think I just
it's catchy.
My main memory of it is this horrible meme where it's the statue holding that weird little human thing, which I don't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's like the sea devil is the person, and then the little statue thing is the poo I just did in the shower that I'm about to chuck in the toilet. It's this disgusting meme, but that is since seeing that meme, that is now burned in my head. Anytime I see that image, I'm sorry for everyone watching it. That is now burned in your head too.
I mean, that little person made no sense whatsoever in the actual story, but yeah.
Yeah, we didn't actually see it afterwards, did we?
No.
I mean, it was a cool statue, I suppose, but yeah. Oh, I had to scroll back and I asked you on the Christmas Q&A what your this is a stylish one, by the way. What your reaction would be if the Sea Devils were in the pirate episode? Did we answer that stylish one, or was that one of the ones we didn't quite get round to? Is that well done on predicting that? I suppose.
Well done, yeah.
Luck. Yeah. I'm curious. Yeah, I don't remember answering that, but it'd be interesting what our reaction was. Because that would have been right before it.
Yeah, I've lost track of what we probably said in time, so I'm sure we're probably excited.
Someone asks, have you re-listened to The Black Hole yet? Is that one of the upcoming Big Finish fans? It is. We have not. That's probably July, isn't it, I think, to tie in with Beyond War Games.
Yeah, I think so. We're that far in advance, but it will happen. It will happen. We're on our promise.
We are men of our word. We will not let you down there. But yeah, you have to have give us a little bit of time to prepare mentally,
mentally and physically.
Soderson says, "What would you say is a historic Big Finish release for each Doctor?" Should we go for like 1 through?
Yeah. Are we talking like historical Big Finish?
Yeah, or just like the
monumental
release. Monumental, like the milestone.
Okay.
For each Doctor.
So is it like favourite release for each Doctor then, really?
Not necessarily. More like the one that made the biggest splash, the one that's the most noteworthy.
Okay.
So that's, I mean, First Doctor, maybe Volume 1 of First Doctor Adventures, just because that is sort of like when it was first going into proper full cast.
Yeah.
And it was having David Bradley there.
I mean, box set as a whole, mixed bag, but Great White Hurricane, worth your time.
Yeah.
I think second Doctor's got to be Beyond War Games, isn't it?
Yeah. But in terms of one that's already come out,
maybe Yes Men, because it's like the first recast of like Ben, and it was Ben and Polly and Jamie.
Yeah, that's true. Or the one that they promoted the most would probably be Companion Chronicles Volume 2.
That does have a very good trailer.
Yeah, like it feels like they were really pushing that one. So third Doctor would either have to be Volume 1 or I'd say Volume 5. Because of like the whole splash of the Brigadier and Liz Shaw in one.
I'd say Volume 7.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it was like the first box where it's just recast completely, but I know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Fourth Doctor's got a bit of a wide variety, I feel.
Yeah, he's got quite a few you could choose from. I mean, Philip Hinchcliffe back in the day, that was like the big Fourth Doctor release. But I don't know.
It was like the 4-parters, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
It'll have to be Series 8 for me, because it's the first time they took the Fourth Doctor out of his comfort zone with like TV companions. It was the first time Big Finish properly had their own spin on his Doctor. So I'd say that was a big moment for Big Finish.
Yeah. I think I probably would just about stick with Philip Hinchcliffe Presents, like that first box set. Because like 9, I like a 6-parter as well. I think that was a juggernaut of a release, and the thickness of it on the shelf.
It's a chunky boy.
Yeah. I mean, you got that again with comic strip adaptations, but it didn't quite have the same impact.
That was unnecessarily big, I feel. That's one we should revisit, actually.
I mean, Fifth Doctor, got to be Fifth Doctor box set.
I'd agree with that.
Sixth Doctor Last Adventure for Sixth Doctor.
Yeah, that's an easy one, that one. Seventh Doctor.
I mean, maybe Unit Dominion? I don't
know. I feel like Dark Universe got a lot of attention.
Yeah, especially for a monthly range story. That one did feel like something different.
And I think now, well, it's probably not canon now. But I guess it has a lot of weight behind it because it's Old Seven meeting. Well, yeah, Old Seven meeting Old Ace, really.
Yeah.
But I'd say that, and I think Eighth Doctor's got to be Dark Eyes, isn't it?
Yeah, that's got to be it. And then War
Do we
Doctor.
do War Doctor?
Yeah, might as well. It's not that many to choose from, so
yeah, that's true.
I suppose it would have to be Only the Monstrous just for John Hurt come back into it. Like a lot of them, it will be their first one. Like Ninth Doctor, I would say, would be Ravagers. 10th Doctor, though, I'd probably say Dalek Universe 1 rather than 10th Doctor Volume 1.
I would say Dalek Universe is because I think everyone was on such a hype train for it. The reviews, like looking at it social media, it felt like everyone was experiencing it real time. It felt like a TV episode going out because everyone was talking about the cliffhanger on that day, and I was like, this feels like such a community event. So it has to be
a
Dalek
lot of
Universe.
People who don't usually get Big Finish got that one, didn't they?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then I suppose 11th Doctor. There's sort of like not really that many to. Maybe we could say Regeneration Impossible.
Yeah,
and I was going to say 11 and 12 together.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, there we go. That is the
there we are.
Monumental Big Finish releases
for landmarks, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. David Warner. No, we're not. We don't go down that
David Warner. What would David Warner's be actually? Probably Sympathy of the Devil because it's like a post-regeneration story.
Or Unbound Universe because that was like his return after quite a while.
Yeah. Hello, Payne Cyberman. Stop just listening, washing the dishes. Hope you're having fun washing the dishes. We're keeping you company.
Yeah. Always good to have something to distract you while doing that.
Yeah, it makes the mundane chores worth it.
Yeah. So this one says, at least we got a lot of visual trailers for the Outlaws to make up for the cover. Yeah, that was bizarre, wasn't it? They really did push the marketing on that one. Like 2 different visual trailers and that behind the scenes video. And like a 4-minute audio trailer as well.
Yeah, I mean the trailers are getting longer now, aren't they? Really, like 4th Doctor Solo, that was quite a big one.
Yeah, it's just the hope that they don't drag out too much. I think sometimes you can have that problem. Favorite audio only Big Finish trailers?
I guess novel adaptations don't count.
Maybe.
So I would say Nightshade's such a good trailer, but it's a book as well.
Yeah, but it's a trailer, isn't it? So
it's a good trailer. I think the Dark Universe trailers were pretty strong.
Yeah, they were alright. I'd say maybe Dark Eyes.
Yeah.
Some of the Dark Eyes trailers. Particularly 1 and 2, I think I do have strong memories of them being good. But it's like once you have the release, you don't really go back to the trailers enough to remember a lot of them. And a lot of your thoughts are coloured on by the quality of the set itself.
Yeah, that is very true.
Tend to get the trailers.
Payne Simon says Time War 4, best audio only trailer. I can't remember the Time War 4 trailer.
No, it's sad to say I can't either.
But I'll take your word for it. Yeah, it must. Actually, I remember saying it sounds like a good box set. But then we didn't want to get too carried away because Time War's hit and miss.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't had that for a while now.
Unless that's part of the relaunch, unless it's the continuation of Stranded stuff.
Yeah. Have you finished Stranded yet?
No.
Nah.
I want to listen to it as a whole thing.
You're going back for the whole thing.
How was it? How was the end of Stranded?
It's very weird, but in a good way, I would say.
Okay.
It's anticlimactic in a good way, I'd say. Like, anticlimactic's not the word for it. More, it's subtle, I guess, is the way to put it. It's not this big bombastic conclusion like Day of the Master was. It's something much more emotional and it felt right for Stranded to end the way it did. Yeah, and I'd say the cliffhanger of episode 3 was something very interesting. Okay. It's like, I can't believe they're actually doing that and using it as a cliffhanger, but it works very well.
Who wrote the third story?
Roy Gill did.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's the big conclusion to it. That's like where everything gets wrapped up. And then the 4th episode is something a bit more different, much more character.
Is it like an epilogue then?
Yeah, that's the way to describe the 4th episode. And it's very much it's right back to Stranded 1 roots, that final episode. It's like no big problems, no alien invasions or anything like that. Just the characters living together for a little while.
So it's sort of a return then to what Stranded was.
Yeah. I think overall, similar to Dalek Universe, I'd say Stranded is, as a whole, is greater than the sum of its parts.
I see that. Because I enjoy the vibes of Stranded, but when you look at the components, like the stories, I'm like, yeah, I'm not too keen on that one, but I like the overall, what they're going for.
Yeah.
With it.
And I think often it's a case of how long it was between box sets as well. So like knocks off the momentum a bit, but it is all very well planned out. Like some of the things that get explained towards the end are things that you almost forgot about and they probably could have got away without, but you see how well planned and thought out it was as a series. I mean, Mr. Birds, he was a great character in the end, despite him being sort of nothing in box set 1 and then gets forgotten about.
And then the stuff with Robin as well, like, it makes sense.
Really.
But yeah, bad spoilers.
Yeah, we can't say too much. But yeah, imagine. Yeah, I do wonder what the next announcement will be for going on beyond that. How long we'll have to wait and what that will entail.
When is the next McGann? Is it September? Is it or
November?
November, blimey.
Unless they mix it up. But yeah, we got like back-to-back McGann because it's November and December at the moment on the schedule.
Did you listen to like the recent podcast where they said they've been recording their 60th anniversary for 2 years now?
Oh yeah, I did. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think we heard a bit about that a while ago, didn't we? They were talking about Tom Baker and they mentioned he's already recorded his stuff for it. So,
do you think Eccleston's going to be in it?
It makes you wonder because surely they wouldn't have known about him joining them that long ago.
Like, it makes you think, are they going to try and incorporate bits of license from the Jodie era in it? So it feels like an ever-growing thing because the time we get the 60th anniversary Big Finish, they'll probably have a license to the Chibnall stuff.
Yeah, I imagine so. Yeah, well, will it? I mean, they say scripts as well, plural. So I imagine rather than it just being one story, it's going to be like a box set of different, similar to what Legacy of Time was, I'm guessing. But hopefully less messy.
Every time I open the cupboard door and I see that, I'm like, I should revisit it, but I just don't have the heart to visit it again.
Oh, it's probably going to be one of those weird big book things, isn't it? Rather than
or it might be vinyl. It might be like a 500 quid vinyl.
I mean, maybe a 3-episode story, 3 hours long, but on vinyl. I'll take that. I'll get that vinyl. But yeah,
that's the thing. Do you get the CD and the vinyl? It's like that big release, isn't it? Yeah. They were speculated, but yeah.
Yeah, it's fun to speculate though. Think about what could be. I imagine we'll hear about it like January, February, I would say, next year.
Masterful was announced pretty early though, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe.
I think as soon as it's all in the can, they go, here it is.
Yeah, I mean, they say it's meant to be autumn this year. They're getting the final stuff done, didn't they? So perhaps, we could hear about it maybe November 21st would be.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll add the Three Doctors Lost Story in that set, or that would be a different release entirely.
I thought that would work as a different release because Three Doctors itself would be celebrating 50 years right at the start of the year. So maybe get that out January. If they were to do it.
I mean, I'm hypothetically excited about that. It feels like one of the worst kept secrets. So we know it's out there. It's just whether it's been recorded.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see, really. Yeah, time will tell. It usually does, as some of the Doctor said. Pain Cyberman says, that's what I've been saying. Stranded really actually did it. Yep, it actually did. It was certainly a surprise, to be sure. Starship says, surely Dark Universe can still be canon, just say the Time War did it. Anything be canon if you want it to, although World Shapers isn't canon to me. Forward Cybermen and Dead Jamie, no thanks.
I mean, Ace has got so many endings and beginnings.
Yeah, so much.
Ground
weird.
Zero, she's dead. Like
all
Sarah
the Virgin novels,
yeah,
like all discounted in a way, but then some of them are adapted to audio, and like some of the audios do treat them as canon because you have like, is it Scourge of the Swarm or something?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Shadow
very
of the
much
Scourge, yeah.
Shadow of the Scourge of the Shadow.
I'm gonna have a look. Shadow of the Scourge, yeah.
Yeah, because that's like an audio that was very much Virgin New Adventures, Ace and Benny, wasn't it? Was the idea for that?
Yeah, one. I think it was adapted from a book that never got made, I think.
Yeah.
And then Tegan as well appearing. Obviously, The Gathering no longer canon.
Yeah, I think it all just comes down to Uncle Terence's great wisdom. Continuity is what the average viewer can be expected to remember.
Yeah.
You got like multiple Atlantis and stuff. So it's funny to think though, with 10th Doctor Classic Companions, that's going to be the month before the Centenary, probably. Or like very close to it. So
well, apparently it's November now, the Centenary.
Oh yeah, I saw some. Yeah, one of the like designers said it on.
Yeah, I think it was Ray Holman. Was it the person who's a costume? Because I think we all speculated October.
Yeah, if it's November, like when the official Centenary is. But I think because it's not like a Doctor Who specific one, it's the BBC as a whole, and they've got loads of different things going on. So not everything's going to be the same day, is it? It's like a period of celebration as opposed to a single day anniversary. So it could come anywhere in the autumn.
Should we talk about the Centenary trailer since we're on it at the minute? What did you think of it?
I got very excited for a little bit. I certainly I hated myself for it because I know I'm going to be disappointed. I know all this stuff is not going to turn out how I hope, but you know, we're little pea-brained humans. We see these little things and we get excited for them. Like we've got Tegan and Ace back in the show.
A weird combo,
but one that I feel works. I mean, think we had Ace rumored for a while beforehand.
Yeah,
Tegan was certainly one that came a bit more out of left field. But I think there's a quote from an interview where Chris Chibnall was asked if you could bring anyone like Classic Companions back, who would you bring back? And he did say Ace and Tegan were like the two ones that came up. And I think it was followed by Amy and Rory. So
are they coming back, Amy and Rory?
Yeah, you never know. They have even less to do than
that's the worry. Like you see all that, like the trailer's exciting, like it does what a trailer should do. But then you come back to Earth and you're like, oh, how's that actually going to work? Like story wise, like with all these elements, like Ashad coming back, which I'm so happy he's back because I thought he was done so dirty in the Timeless Children. I'm so happy he's back because he's, for me, possibly the best monster from the Jodie era.
Yeah, he's definitely really high up there. I think
especially via Diodati.
Very good job.
Yeah, very Rasputin looking.
Yeah, that's like you have babyface look and then massive long hair and beard look.
That'd be interesting.
Hmm.
But I feel like we knew Dewan was going to be in it because of that whole box thing. So it was great seeing him back because I think Sacha Dhawan's one of the good things to come from Chibnall's era. And I hope that Russell keeps him on. Yeah.
I think he's just so much fun in the role.
But I think as well as he's better at the sort of quiet anger. When he has that sudden like outburst, like that sort of tortured genius, it sort of loses me a bit.
Yeah, it's those stuff where it almost feels like he's on the verge of tears.
Yeah,
like you get a bit of that in the trailer. It's like, you feel like the voice shaking, can't you? Yeah, he's brilliant in the role. Love Sacha Dhawan. And then Kate's back again, but
will she actually do something this time?
More to do? Yeah, that's the thing. It's like we had that hype up for Flux when she was in the trailer for Survivors of the Flux. But then she ended up doing very little, so who knows what's going to happen this time round. Cybermen and Daleks again. Is it not Cyber Lords though, funnily enough?
No, I thought they'd be in it. Is the Mighty Bating going to be in it? The Mighty Bating's going to save the day.
Yeah, I mean, with a Shard back, I wouldn't be too surprised if we also got what's his name back from Series 11, Tim Shaw.
Oh yeah, it makes sense.
Two-Face? Or have we forgotten Series 11, left that behind? Graham back as well.
Yeah, well, and then there's that whole speculation that classic Doctors are in it because they were seen in Cardiff too.
Yeah.
So
it feels like so much big stuff that could possibly work and be fun, but I don't have enough faith for it.
It feels oddly strange that it's a year before the 60th, so it feels like Chibnall's then, well, I'm not going to be around for the 60th, so here's what I would do.
Yeah, it's odd in that sense. Especially since we probably won't have any episodes in between, so it'd be back-to-back big celebrations, unless Russell does something different.
Just have to wait and see, really, what Russell does. That's still shrouded in mystery, and there was that little press release, wasn't it? But we'll find out the new Doctor very soon.
Yeah, that's true. But it's the right time for it now as well, because it won't overshadow Legend of the Sea Devils, and we've got enough time before the Centenary itself for it not to risk overshadowing that. So I think.
I mean, people are speculating 14th of May because is it like a sports final? I don't know sports.
Maybe they're going to announce it during the Queen's Jubilee Bank holiday. Announce that Elizabeth herself is stepping into the role. Just to cite Christopher Eccleston.
Oh, that'd be
stepping down from the monarchy to do.
That must be sad because I think Eccleston's her favourite Doctor. Yeah. We'll have to see.
Savigma, hello there, says,
hello.
I don't think there will be many characters created by Chibnall that will make a return after he's left. No, I mean, a lot of the characters he's brought back aren't ones from him anyway.
Well, he's bringing back Vinder. He's back.
Yeah, that's true. I'm happy Vinder's back. Probably Bell and Carvanista would be in there as well. Since
Carvanista's there.
Yeah. I mean, they probably won't have anything to do, but...
Yeah, that's true. Just going to stand there.
It's not... Because you have, like, some shows that can balance this stuff well. And, like, some events, some movies. But I don't think from the track record we've had with Doctor at the moment, I don't think it's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I worry about how much is going to be left on the cutting room floor, because a lot, especially recently with Flux, and less so even the Daleks, but Legend of Sea Devils, we'll get to that properly soon. But it feels like so much has been left on the cutting room floor, so much, just like little shots, little bits of continuity. So that's what worries me about an overstuffed Centenary, is also the fact that it just won't flow at all as a story.
It makes me excited for like the collection box sets when we get round to it, to know what plagued the production, and to actually have that stuff put back in it.
Yeah. It's like, why did this all happen the way it did? But on the bright side, Jamie Magnus-Stone directing, who did Halloween Apocalypse, War of the Sontarans, and Village of the Angels. I think he did quite a few other ones as well for
He's done a few,
Part 1.
Did he do a few in Series 11? Or am I getting mixed? Oh, because there was another good director in Series 11. I think, was it Mark Tondry? He did like Rosa. That was really well directed.
Yeah. But at least with those, they felt like they flowed a lot more, especially the Flux episodes he directed. Like Halloween Apocalypse is quite well structured, I'd say. Like both script and like the way the direction flows from each thing to another. Like I remember, one of the moments I'll always remember is the Doctor saying, "What is the Flux and who else knows about it?" Then we cut from that to the Sontarans. To have their little chat about the Flux. Ultimately, it ended up being a mess in Vanquishers. But still, if that potential is there, then it could work. I don't have much hope that it will, but at least with Jamie Magnus-Stone, there's this glimmer of hope that maybe it could. Because
it will look good.
They're involved a lot in the post-production as well, like the edits and stuff. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
What did you think of the last shot of Jodie with that energy around her? Do you think that's the actual regeneration, or her opening up the fob watch?
I think someone compared it to the shot from Fugitive to Dune when Joe Martin broke the glass, and it is like that same effect. So I imagine it's the fob watch.
Yeah, they're not going to trailer bait you like that. Well, it is trailer bait, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's meant, but it's nothing new for Doctor Who.
No.
Did they use the stuff from Live the Land in the Series 10 trailers?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they know what they're doing.
They know. But this time, well, Moffat likes to do the regeneration stuff a lot.
Yeah, that's one thing I will say. I think worked out better about the Chibnall era is that it's not regeneration baited us as much.
No, I'm sort of expecting Legend of the Sea Devils to have a bit more, I guess, bells of doom tolling for 13.
I mean, you sort of have a bit towards the end, which is saying this can't last forever, but I think it was meant to just more be like the fun adventure before it all comes to an end, really. But
I guess with like the new series Doctors, there's always sort of been that, I guess, sort of bells tolling. This is the end for that Doctor, really.
Yeah, I think it's meant to be like the fun look back at the style of just normal adventures we used to have and get nostalgic for that with 13, but we didn't have that connection, so that aspect of it didn't work for us.
It makes you think, was Legend of the Sea Devils originally part of Series 13 before Flux became a thing?
Yeah. I mean, apparently it was worked into Flux. Like they were trying to work out a way to do a pirate episode within Flux, but couldn't. And so when they got the opportunity to do an extra episode, they went back to that idea for this.
I mean, I can see that with like with the stars sort of shifting and that. I could see that sort of being with Flux.
But yeah, that's like ended up meant to be the device that the head Sea Devils
yeah. Because I'm mentioning to you, like, oh, that seemed like it could tie into Flux with like the stars and stuff, with like the universe being all higgledy-piggledy.
But yeah, it's just to do with the plot itself, isn't it, in the end? Dan still feels new as well. It doesn't feel like he should be. His story should be over next episode. I suppose because he was sort of invited into the TARDIS twice as well, and this is only really his third story in a way. If you count,
it's a bit
one big one.
It's always the way when it's like a Doctor's last season, you get introduced to a really good TARDIS team, and then it's like Series 10. We loved Bill and Nardole, and then it was bye-bye.
Yeah. At least they felt whole, though.
Yeah.
I wanted more of them as a trio, but I don't feel like I needed more. With this, I feel like in one way they need more, but in another way, even if we get more, they're not going to do anything with it, so we're always going to feel like we need more.
Yeah, because I think Dan really hasn't done anything since War of the Sontarans, to be honest.
No.
Like, I love Dan. I'm a big fan of Dan. I think John Bishop's such a great ambassador for the show, the way he just has such enthusiasm for it. It's quite infectious. But yeah, Dan as a character, I don't feel like he's done an awful lot since then.
No. I mean, we'll get on to... He has a little bit to do in this episode, at least, but we'll get on to that when we talk about it. But yeah, the way the Chibnall era treats characters feels similar to the way a video game treats abilities. Like, you gain it, and you have to do like a tutorial to use it for this one sequence. And after that, you just sort of keep it in your arsenal of abilities and then just go back to using your main one or two that you always use, which with Chibnall's case is just the Doctor, really. But yeah, that is one analogy, I would say, that accurately describes it, sadly, because he collects so many characters, they're all there, but they're not doing anything most of the time. Just sort of there to soundboard off things a couple of times with the Doctor. But even then, she's the one asking a lot of the questions to herself at this point. Yeah. So, nice. You got to have someone there to sacrifice themselves as well. Got to tick that box.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about the sacrificing when we get to Legends of the Sea Devils.
Yeah,
just like history repeating itself.
Oh, Savigma has an interesting point here. I can see Jodie's Doctor ending similar to Tennant's, where there's like an alternative Doctor. Jodie's living her life with Yaz in some capacity. That could be, because like the way it's set up does sort of feed into that, with her not being able to fix herself to one thing. So, I mean, it's not the first time that Chibnall has borrowed stuff from other eras, so that could be a good way to write Yaz out. Yeah, that's the other thing. Centenary's not only got all this stuff to do with characters coming back, it's also got to write out Yaz and Dan.
I feel like they wrote Dan out already because he's going to go back with Di.
Yeah, that's true. It's probably going to be pretty simple.
That felt so, like, not to jump into Legend of the Sea Devils, but he's leaving a voicemail and, like, suddenly she's ringing him. Like, I don't think that's how phones work.
No. But it's a nitpick in a sea of nitpicks.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. I see what you did there.
Oh, all right. The pun game is strong.
Clever, these puns.
Oh dear.
We're like pirates, we're stealing them from each other.
All right, Madam Ching. Oh dear.
Pain Sideman says, hot take, I guess. Dan may have cool and badass moments, but he has nothing in terms of an actual character. Yeah, that feels like a lot of characters in this era, sadly. I saw a good stylish one says, I saw a good meme about Tegan leaving because of all the death and guns, and here she is now using guns blazing at presumably monsters. Yeah, it feels almost like Torchwood, all the guns we're seeing here. Like, Yaz is going around with one, Kate's going around with one, Tegan and Ace are there, opening fire, Stolen Earth style. It very much feels like the same shot we had with Yanto and Gwen in the hub as the Dalek came in. So, yeah, I'm hoping in the context it works, but yeah, that does feel odd. That feels like trailer bait again, doesn't it? Just a cool shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see Janet sort of laughing while we're doing it. You're like, oh, she's having fun.
Yeah. I'm happy for the actresses getting to come back. They seem to be reveling in it. I know the character's been quite a lot to some people, so it's nice to see them overjoyed at getting them back.
I don't know, this might just be me, but I feel like because me and you are so deep into Big Finish, I kind of feel a bit desensitized to stuff like that when characters return on screen. I'm like, oh, I've listened to them.
I mean, especially when we got 10th Doctor Classic Companions with Ace in there just a month before. But I say it's still exciting to see them on screen.
Yeah.
With Big Finish, you have that degree of separation, I suppose. Whereas on screen, it is sort of more official and more canon, even though we like to say Doctor Who is no canon.
It's subjective. Yeah. It's what it is. But
I think it's also the thought that a lot more people will be seeing it, a lot more people will be exposed to these characters. That's something that's exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what ending Chibnall goes for, because I feel like Chibnall, he's a big 80s fan, isn't he? I feel like that's his Doctor Who in a way, despite him.
The one he criticised at the time.
Yeah, which is bizarre. And it makes you feel like the Blu-ray trailers have a bit more weight behind it now, really.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, especially because it is very much leaning into the CEO Ace, isn't it?
Seems like it.
Yeah. I mean, Russell technically set up with Sarah Jane Adventures, so. But I suppose the other thing about seeing them back is that it was something that we'd been hoping for a while back in the day. Like, it's your teenage fantasy, isn't it? I remember there was, during the filming of Series 8, there's a picture of Janet and Peter together.
Yeah.
And I was getting my hopes up for a school reunion style episode with Tika and Javanka coming back based off that. And then obviously you got Katie Manning again in the TARDIS alongside Peter Capaldi.
And Fraser Hines as well in Series 9 then, yeah.
Yeah, just like all stuff like that you get your hopes up for, even though you think it's never going to happen. And now suddenly it is happening. Chris Chibble's actually giving us it. So I rate him for that. It's just a shame that it probably could have been done better under the previous reigns. It's like, and I think also it just would have been nice to have Peter interact with classic companions.
He's the Doctor. What I think, he's the most Doctor-y Doctor Who of them all, really.
Especially of the new Who ones.
Yeah, he just embodies the Doctor. So I think if any classic companion was to come back, it would like, I feel like Susan, he was the perfect Doctor to have Susan back on screen.
Yeah, whereas it's a shame with Jodie, because I don't think we've connected with her enough to feel like it's the Doctor interacting with these characters again, which is a shame.
I mean, Stage One mentioned the At Childhood End book, which really good 13th Doctor story, actually. Yeah, and that was nice to have an Ace back within it. But yeah, like you said, we haven't really connected to Jodie's Doctor. That's no fault of Jodie. I like her. I think as an actress, she's brilliant. As a person, she's a great ambassador for the show. It's just that sometimes there are bits of the show what don't speak to you like others, really.
I mean, we sort of revealed where we're going to go with the tier list here, but
yeah,
should we talk about Rose Tyler, the Dimension Canon first? Like our news, because we got a cover and we got story details.
I'll load that up.
A very good cover ride, actually. I think I prefer it to the first Dimension Canon cover.
It feels very in keeping to the series. It feels like it's consistent.
Yeah, it's got like that almost. It's that post-apocalyptic tone, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like it's the world holding its breath. It's that same feeling as we had, as you get during the news broadcast in World War III. You know, when he's saying, "Yesterday saw the start of a brave new world. Today might see it end." And I think it's very much going for that tone, that turn left tone.
Are you tempted by it?
Admittedly, I am. I think I'm just gonna have to see like what's going on at the time, how much other stuff I need to buy before deciding on it. How about you? Did you get the first one?
I listened to the first story in the first box set and I really enjoyed it. But I never went back to listen to the rest of the set. I feel like you, I will probably end up getting it eventually. I just don't feel like it's an essential purchase right now. I mean, it's not out yet, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get you. I think maybe it could be good to get that because I feel like this is one where you need to get the first set as well before you dive into the second.
It does feel like a continuation, definitely.
And then we know we're getting a third as well at some point. I think September the year after. So
that'd be cool. The stories sound really good as well, actually. Especially Jackie being a hit on daytime TV. That feels like a James Goss type of thing, really.
Yeah, that
feels very James Goss, but it's Emily Cook.
Yeah, it feels right for the Rusty Davis era, doesn't it? Like, especially the little glimpse you get at what he would have done with the multiverse in terms of the alternative Jackie and Rise of Cybermen and Age of Steel. You think there's a lot of other things where it feels right for the character, but different at the same time. But yeah, it does seem like 3 very good stories. Cover art is by Caroline Tankersley again, who's been doing quite a lot recently. She's done like the Back to Earth, Protector, 8th of March, Protectors of Time, 7th Doctor Silver and Ice, the recent Sherlock Holmes Themes of New York City cover, which is a very good cover.
Yeah, I've been busy doing the covers.
Yeah. I think what's also nice is that this isn't generic characters in a line as such.
Yeah.
Like, it does sort of fit into that. But it's not one character. It's not the central character, and then they're being flanked, getting smaller as we go out. It's a little bit different, at least.
Well, it's nice having Clive on a cover again. Everyone loves Clive.
Yeah, got a little bit of Mark Benton. I mean, he's definitely one of the things that seems excited about the range in general. Yeah, looking back at the first cover, it's not a bad cover, but this is definitely the better of the two.
I think I'll have to agree. Actually.
Makes a change, doesn't it? We're being positive about a Big Finish cover.
Ooh, we're new people.
Yeah, we've certainly had a few.
We were positive about was it Silver and Ice?
Yeah, we were. I feel like there's been a few recently where it is just. I become positive about it eventually, but it takes a bit of getting used to. This one, the initial reaction was, "Oh, that's nice," which is good. Yeah. But Mr. Moncactus says we never got enough Clive. Yeah, we didn't, and that's what Russell did that so well. These characters who are hardly in the story, like Clive, has 3 scenes?
Yeah, I think so.
Like you have a short little introduction, you have the stuff in the shed, and then you've got them shopping. Boom, he's dead. Admittedly, it is partially down to Mark Benson's great performance, but Russell just crafted such a great little character there for that role. Like, it doesn't need to be as good as it is, but it doesn't feel wrong having him back for this. It doesn't feel like that bizarre, or why have you brought this character back? Why have you brought this journalist from Partners in Crime back?
Are you acting some podcast?
Maybe some podcast. It's a character that feels right to bring back for this. And I suppose right for Rose Tyler as well, because I think it's nice for her.
He
to
was
sort
a
of come full
character
circle with him.
What brought her into the Doctor's will, technically, really.
I mean, I think he's getting to play quite a few different versions, isn't he?
Yeah.
Wonder how many of them may meet a unfortunate fate.
Who knows?
I think because I remember listening to a clip from the first episode, and I loved his it's like a recreation of the scene where she knocks on his house, and he has this reaction of, "Who told you about my shed?" Like he's trying to act all normal, and then she mentions his weird sheds, and he's like, "Who told you about my shed?" So yeah,
every man about their man cave.
Other Worlds gets a thumbs up from me.
Yeah, I'd say so too. Just wait and see what the trailer's like.
3 female writers as well for this set, which makes sense for a Rose Tyler. She's writing a Doctor Who set. She's a she.
Oh, there are people on the internet who probably think that, which is very sad.
Oh dear. Yeah, I think that's all the news now, isn't it? Or do you want to talk about Redacted quickly, because you did give it?
Oh yeah, I did. I listened to Redacted, and it was all right actually. It's that new 10-part podcast, audio drama, whatever you want to call it. But it was for me. It took a while for me to get into it, because the way it's structured is you've got three friends recording a podcast about the Blue Box. Like, it's Linda but with a podcast, and you follow I think, I can't remember, is it Charlie, and she's living with her brother, and she's sent off to record an interview with Penny Carter from Partners in Crime. But she keeps getting weird phone calls from this, and then when she listens to it back, the message is all sort of static, and it's the doctor trying to get through. And it's all right. It's all right at the minute. Like, I'm intrigued to see where it goes. It's an interesting start. But yeah, got another 9 episodes to go. But yeah, nice little Easter eggs within there.
Appropriate for the time of year.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so.
All right. But shall we delay no longer?
Yes, let's move on to a bit of reptilian action.
Roll up, and see the Silurians.
This is our planet. Or you can do the weird Warriors of a Deep
this week.
Or you can do every sort of tier list in a Sea Devil voice. Well, anyway, let's move on to your introduction. Very short tier list, and a nice little curveball within this little tier list.
Yeah. So at the top there, we have the first one, reference to, is it part 5's cliffhanger of the Silurians?
Yeah.
Yeah, part 5. Yeah. So obviously, first one being it's the first tier, it's the top tier. It's the first one we talk about here, but also it's what John Pertwee dramatically says when the first body hits the floor from the Silurian plague.
Let the bodies hit the floor.
Next up, we have Devilishly Good, or you could say Sea Devilishly Good.
Oof.
After that, we have Warriors of the Not So Deep Storytelling. That one speaks for itself. And it's quite a few Warriors of the Deep puns here, because we have There Should Have Been an Unaway. You know, the story should have been better written. There was a lot of potential there, but doesn't reach it. And finally, Face It, Tegan, it's shit.
I think that's my favourite, to be honest.
Favourite of this list or favourite ever?
Oh, I don't know. We'll have to see.
We'll have to look back at some of our previous puns.
We'll have
to do a tier list of the tier list puns.
Honestly, let's do it this Christmas. We've done shortbread. We can do our own puns. We can indulge in ourselves. Oh, dear.
Well, like the snake that's eating its tail with feeding us.
We just do it to make ourselves laugh.
So, yeah. It's just a bit of fun, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it is. It really is.
I think we probably spent half that biscuit tier list laughing our heads off at just the sheer absurdity of us doing a biscuit tier list.
But we were reduced to that, but yeah.
Tom Baker offering people biscuits on the thumbnail as well.
Oh, I can't wait for this December. What are we going to do this time? Cakes?
Who knows? There's definitely a few options out there.
Oh, yeah.
Different brews of tea after all the different.
Yeah, that'd be all right. Into like an
milkability.
Dunkability of a biscuit.
Yeah, so we've got 6 stories here instead of 5, like you may have expected. We've got Doctor and the Silurians, Sea Devils, Warriors of the Deep, Hungry Earth, Cold Blood, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, and Legends of the Sea Devils. I think decided to throw in Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, bit of a curveball because, well, it's a bit of a short tier list to begin with, so we've got room to talk about an extra story. 2, it is tangentially related to the Silurians. Like, it was their ship, wasn't it?
Their Noah's Ark,
like
isn't
their
it, really?
ark they sent up with the dinosaurs on. And you do have a Silurian cameo in there as well, because it's like when they're viewing the old recordings.
It's the scientist, isn't it?
Watching. Yeah, it's the same one from, well, same actor at least from.
Yeah, is it Richard Hope? Is it?
Yeah, that rings a bell. That sounds about right. Yeah, he's in there, and so it's their ship. It's all the reptiles as well from the Dawn of Time, isn't it? The dinosaurs. So
yeah,
if we're going general reptiles from the Dawn of Time tier list, they definitely fit here, and we should have Invasion of the Dinosaurs on there as well.
I was just going to say, were you tempted to include like the Madame Vastra stuff?
So in the same way we kept Strax stuff off of the Sontaran tier list, it's like because they're more of their own characters rather than just the general race, it doesn't feel quite right to include them. Unless it is more specifically about their Silurian heritage, the story, I suppose, which we haven't necessarily had. I mean, maybe you could say Deep Breath's got the dinosaur in there as well.
You're just thinking of more things to add.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got enough on here now.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking about what could have happened if they've just brought back a Silurian from the Dawn of Time in Invasion of the Dinosaurs. Like the time scoop thing. What if a Silurian's just walking around modern day Earth?
That'd be really cool. I mean, Mind of Evil, do you put them on there?
Malcolm Hulk as well. He's done.
Yeah. Fits. It fits. Spelled his name wrong in the credits.
Speaking of the writer, though, Chris Chibnall wrote Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, having also written Hungry Earth and Cold Blood, and co-written the recent Legend of the Sea Devils. So it makes sense there in a way to include it as this bridge. And you certainly see a few Chibnallisms in there, which will lead us into Legend of the Sea Devils. But we've got the good stuff first. We have Doctor Who and the Silurians to talk about. I mean, these two we've kind of already done.
Yeah, I feel like we
tier list.
I feel like we should sort of breeze through these in a way.
Yeah,
because I feel like we know where they're gonna go. Because we did them on like the third Doctor era ranking. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. It's good. We had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah. I mean, your favorite of the two is Sea Devils.
Yeah, I think if I had to pick two, if I had to pick one, it would be Sea Devils. Yeah.
But I would say Doctor Who and the Silurians would be my preference. I think because it does go into the issue a bit more.
Yeah.
Whereas Sea Devils doesn't have to, because that issue's already been covered. It's more of a master story anyway. And so it's a quick repeat, but it doesn't feel like a rushed one because it is still 6 parts. You've got enough in there. But
it's different enough.
Yeah. Instead of the Doctor advocating for peace and like advocating for the human side of things, you have the Master there to balance that out and have another alien Time Lord advocating for the Sea Devils themselves and pushing this war. So that's an interesting way to do it. Whereas Doctor and the Silurians is the Doctor caught between both races, going at each other's throats and not quite understanding each other. And I think, I just love the atmosphere of Doctor and the Silurians as well.
I think the kazoo helps it as well because it makes it feel very. Yeah. It's wrong to say alien, but very dinosaur. I don't know. It just feels very different to what you normally get, and it stands out. And I think it works.
There's particularly a piece of music when they're looking at the globe. I think like the Silurians are in their base. It's like that dun 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 dun.
Yeah,
like the more slower piece of it. That it just feels right. It feels prehistoric in a way. But is that just because that's what we hear with this, so that's sort of what we connect it to?
Associate it to,
association, yeah. I love the Silurian design.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that the best Silurian design out there. It's just so good, and it pains me we don't have a figure of it yet, and I hope we do get a figure of it because it deserves it. Like the voice is just, it just has a lot going on, like sort of the clashes between the two sort of Silurians about whether they should trust the apes and all that sort of stuff. I just think there's a great scale to it. I think that and the Sea Devils, there is a big scale and ambition to it.
Like the shots of the plague spreading, that's so well done.
And watching it during a global pandemic, it hits completely different.
Yeah, having Dr. Lawrence say about why should I waste my time getting useless injections against an imaginary epidemic? Like, wow, that hits hard after what some people have been saying about recent times.
It just shows that the Pertwee era still has relevance, and it's sad, but it still does.
Yeah, it's a shame in a way, but yeah, it predicts human nature depressingly well.
Yeah.
But I love the hunt on the moors for the rogue Silurian.
Just like the helicopter shot, like season 7 in general just goes all out. Like it doesn't feel like Doctor Who, but it is Doctor Who, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it feels like Doctor Who it feels like Doctor Who was something to prove.
Yeah, really does. It's got some great moments. Hello, he was Silurian.
It does rather feel like the reptile house at the zoo, doesn't it?
Oh, it's great.
It always shocks me that what's his name? The one from Porridge.
Yeah, the security, like police. Yeah, the warden guy. How quickly he gets killed off? Because I always thought he was in it a bit longer, but he's not.
Yeah, he makes such an impact, doesn't he, throughout his short little while in there.
It's strange to think he would have been the 4th Doctor.
Oh, would it?
Yeah, he was going up to be the 4th Doctor, but they wouldn't agree to his terms. Which was I think he was going to write the theme tune or something like that. He was going to sing the theme tune. Something daft like that. It's a bit like that Little Britain sketch in a way. But he wanted to take it full on.
British eccentricity.
Yeah, but he was like, no, we don't want that.
Probably. I mean, we got Tom Baker instead, so
yeah,
nothing could have beaten that. But I think similar. What's the actor from Dad's Army? Who was
which one?
Yeah, I'm trying.
I was going to say there's many.
The sergeant. I can't remember. John Le Mesurier.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think he was up to be the 3rd Doctor at one time, I believe.
I don't know. I can see it. I can kind of see it.
Or is it that John Pertwee was meant to be up for his role or something? Or was John Pertwee meant to be Captain Some actor was meant to be Captain Mannering as well.
I think it was Pertwee, I think.
Yeah, probably were. Maybe I'll get my wires crossed a bit there.
Yeah, maybe. We'll have to watch the robot DVD.
Getting my wires crossed like Pertwee did when he was making the radio device to call for help.
Nice way to get it back on track.
There we go. Yeah. So, I mean, should we just stick these both at the top? Because
there's no debate with it.
Nah.
Bada bing, bada boom.
We're Pertwee fanboys. We can't help ourselves.
No.
But they are also very good stories.
I mean, I guess this is just a way of plugging the tier list. So if you want to know more thoughts on this, check out the 3rd Doctor. We're not cheating you with Silurian Sea Devil content. Just make it a bit more interesting.
We don't want to retread old ground for those of you who have watched that too much. So yeah, Warriors of the Deep now. We're going 5th Doctor. An era we haven't really talked about much of the TV stuff.
No, we haven't actually.
No, so I did rewatch this one recently specifically for this tier list because it had been such a long time and I couldn't remember my thoughts on it. It's fun. You hear so many other people's thoughts that your own sort of get lost after a while.
Yeah, you sort of go into that sort of hive mind of going, oh yeah, I probably dislike it.
One thing I will say it does better than the first two is giving each Sea Devil and Silurian a name.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Silurians itself is great, but it is a bit awkward when you have, I am the leader now. Our leader is dead. And like, you're not actually referring to my names, but here you've got Ictar, Skibus, Tarpok, there we go.
I only know that because of the
Sea
figures.
Devil. Yeah, the Sea Devil leader has a name as well, but I can't remember it.
Is it? I don't want to mispronounce it. Is it Servax?
Servax. Yeah, it's something along those lines.
It could be something completely like a bodily part if you get it pronounced wrong.
Yeah, but I think that adds a lot to it and does make them feel more like people. It's something that was a bit missing from the first two when you did have, because the idea is that, you know, they're this civilization just like humanity, really. They are all individual people. Not all of them are out to get us, but some of them are. And so having them with individual names as well helps to make them feel more human and helps to make us see the humans as just as bad.
Yeah.
Which is important for these stories. I don't mind the Silurian redesign. I think certainly the original is better, but the shell does work quite well. The talking with the third eye feels a bit weird, but I rewatched the behind the scenes documentary as well after watching it, and apparently Ian Levine was like asked to read through the script and notice continuity errors and stuff. I think apparently it was even he suggested to John Nathan Turner to bring the Silurians back, funnily enough.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like asked to have a look through it. And apparently he came back with like 40 notes or something on things that need to be changed to match up with the original Sea Devil and Silurian stories. And so when you think about what is different here, it makes you wonder how much further off it was originally.
It's so like 80s Doctor Who. You get to sort of season 20 because it's like the 20th anniversary year. They go all out with like returning things, and I think right up until season 22, like there's a whole 3 seasons of really fan indulgence, and I feel like we're kind of at that point now with the show.
History's repeating, isn't it?
History's repeating itself with it all. But for me, I feel like the Beneath the Surface box set for me is like the best DVD box set for me. Getting
you
it
get great value for money. 17 episodes.
17 episodes, like 2008 in January. My goodness, it was such an exciting. And this was the first one I watched out of the two, out of the three. Sorry, I should say.
Oh, why was that?
I saw Sea Devils and Silurians on the cover. I was like, you know what? I think it was because my dad's not a big fan of Davison. So I was like, well, at least I get to watch the Pertwee ones with him. So I'll secretly hide and watch Davison. And he won't have to know about it. Then get out of the way.
Go at your dad's pace with the quality. Yeah.
But there is something quite. It's wrong to say sort of childish. I don't know, because it's like your action figures are all there. You've got your Sea Devil figure, Silurian figure, and your Doctor. It feels very sort of sandbox Doctor Who in a way. And I think it makes sense for them to work together.
Definitely.
I think part one for me is the weakest of the bunch, to be honest.
Oh, really? I think that might have been the strongest for me.
For me, maybe because I'm just really familiar with part one. I just found it a little bit dull.
I love the reviving of the Sea Devils. I love like their little
done.
base there, like how they're in hibernation. I mean, I feel like Hungry Earth and Cold Blood took a page out of Warriors of the Deep book when it came to that. It does feel a similar aesthetic to it.
I think linking it to Legend of the Sea Devils, both of these two stories shouldn't really exist because of production sort of stuff. But here they are, they exist.
Yeah, like this lost 2 weeks of production time on it.
Because of like a snap general election, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's bloody Maggie Thatcher ruining Warriors of the Deep. That's the thing. It feels like it could have been better. I think with the script they had And if they had that extra time to prepare, it could have been a good story. I don't think it could have quite been great for me, but I think it could have been good enough, like a solid 7, maybe even 8 out of 10, if the production values could have really heightened it. But then you sort of have these weird attack sequences where people are just standing around in the corridor. You have the awkward bending door. You have the Merca, which isn't that threatening. And it's sort of like during parts 2 and 3, it's sort of, they blur into one for me because it just
it's that chase around the base, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like it's not a solid, well thought out base under siege like you get in the 60s, which also often had quite rushed production, funnily enough. But I suppose maybe Black and White hides a multitude of sins, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you feel like they could have done something a bit more base under siege style there. This is undeniably a base under siege story, but it's not having those tropes in it. Instead, it's just having a full-on, awkwardly staged battle going on, with where it's like hard to follow the context of it, I suppose, because we don't know the layout of the base, and so you feel like it's just these endless bunch of the same corridors repeating themselves.
Like, it's an interesting set. I just think that it's lit completely wrong.
Yeah, it's so overly lit, which is, I mean, part of that was down to time restraints, but also it's the 80s. They love to overlight those sets.
But when you sort of get sort of the dark corridors, I'm like, that's what it should be like.
Yeah, it's like that dinginess of it being underwater, isn't it?
And it
like
feels too clinical.
Rotting a bit, yeah.
It feels too clean and pristine. I feel like it should have a bit more grime, and yeah, it just feels very medical in a way.
Yeah.
The costumes are very 80s though, isn't it? Like the actual staff members.
Yeah. They feel a bit Jerry Anderson.
Yeah, I can see that.
In fact, the model shots as well feel very Jerry Anderson and very well done. I'll give the model shots a lot of
little
props.
Silurian submarine.
That was not an intentional pun, but
but
yeah, I think they're very well made. Yeah, the satellite in space as well.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting done. It's. I feel like the figures have blinded me a little bit with it, having the actual Silurians. I'm like, oh, we've got figures of them now, so I feel like there's a little bit of a bias. But I feel like this has always been a guilty pleasure for me. I've always secretly indulged in it. I get the hate for it, but I'm like, I can see past it because I'm just too busy going, oh, the Sea Devils look great.
Yeah, I feel like some people do give it a bit too much hate. Like, I think it has a lot of potential there, and sometimes it does live up to that. I think Pete Stevenson's great in it.
Yeah, he's especially part one's cliffhanger. Like a lot of people, I feel like this story has had such a renaissance this year. Whether that be because of the figures or the Sea Devils coming back, I feel like this has had such a resurgence in fan consciousness.
Because before that, it was sort of like the forgotten Silurian and Sea Devil story. Like, you would sometimes think, with Legend of the Sea Devils, you think, oh, the Sea Devils are returning for the first time in 50 years. And oh, wait, no, they did return once before.
Yeah. What do you think of the design of the Sea Devils, actually?
It does feel a bit cheap. It feels like too much money was spent on the Silurian costume, and then they went, oh shit, we got Sea Devils to do as well, and so I had to rush. But at the same time, they're the grunts, aren't they? They're more in the background. They don't have to be as focused, so I can forgive it a bit. And like I said, they look fine when they're standing still. And to be fair, they don't look too bad in comparison to some other monsters. I think it is just, you look at how good they were in the 70s and think, how can we have dropped that much in 12 years? Yeah, 12 years.
It almost feels like it's missing like the gills. Like they're there, but they're not as prominent.
Yeah, it doesn't feel as real. Like, obviously, the Sea Devil looks rubbery, but that's just how fish look. That is the texture they have.
You can get away with it, can't you? Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas the Yeah, they almost look too shiny, and maybe that's again down to it being overly lit. Certainly. Then by no means the worst 80s offender, but they're not too great either, I would say. How about you?
I don't know why, but there's just something what I'm like, oh, they look really cool. Like I want a figure of them, definitely. Now we've got the Warriors of the Deep Silurians, but I feel like because they haven't got the gills, you could say, is that because they've been in hibernation, and like there's a line saying, or they might not have survived the hibernation, or
Yeah.
And you feel like, oh, is that them
been in
sort of
hibernation far longer than was intended, I think is the line, isn't it?
they like started to degenerate, decompose, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
that sort of explains it.
It's quite creepy when you have the gas used on them and this green goo just starts coming out.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit like Khalid.
It's nice that they have similar guns to the original.
Yeah, they've got a bit of a... They're not disky, are they? They're on like a pole compared to it now. But they've got a similar shape, and I think as much as I like the sword idea in Legend of the Sea Devils, I was missing the heat ray. That's just me.
I mean, it's all... Yeah. I think it does sort of stand out a bit how you just like got that white pole and then the white disc, but it's a very black costume with the samurai armor. They sort of try to hide the missing gills by putting the helmets on as well, don't they?
Yeah, which I like. There's something about that design why just appeals to me. Yeah. It feels like a perfect figure. I think that's what appeals to me about it.
Yeah, they look better than the Merca. I'll give them that.
The Merca's a bit like a pantomime horse, isn't it?
I mean, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The actors inside it did do pantomime horse, and so they were brought on for that, but it's unfortunate.
Probably died of intoxication from like paint and the fumes. I think the idea of the Merca is great, though. Like on paper, it makes sense. Like it's like the Silurian Sea Devil sort of Scarison in a way. It's that sort of big hulky monster.
And it's even got like the cybernetic side of it as well, doesn't it? Because it electrocutes people. Or is that just like electric eel side of things? I saw it's mentioned in the story that it's cybernetic.
Yeah, I think it is.
I mean, I think the idea is that the Silurians are slightly cybernetic as well, given the eye.
Yeah, it makes... Well,
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, because I think because you can see the bulb flashing in it, you're like, oh, it must be electronic.
Especially the voice as well in this story is very electronic.
Yeah. Same as a Candyman, really.
It's like that more high-pitched one, isn't it? Sea Devils sound pretty similar to the original.
Yeah, very authentic voices.
Yeah.
What do you think of the whole sort of Cold War aspect of it?
I think that's quite clever. I think it leads to it being a bit awkward when they can't say like which side is which. Like you have that line where the enemy agent said, "I work for the power block opposed to the one that run this base." And I think in a way I can see why they didn't want to name names, because the idea is that just humans are like that. There's always going to be a conflict, sadly. And so it sort of helps with that Silurian side of the story, doesn't it? To contrast them in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just does lead to a bit of awkward dialogue here and there that maybe should have been avoided. Stylish One says, did you know originally Warriors of the Deep was to have Silurians be aliens who come from the planet Siluria? Ian Levine stopped that. That is what we were saying earlier about continuity. How much worse could it get? That explains a lot. I mean, I suppose that's maybe where the battle cruiser came from.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Thank you, Ian Levine, I suppose.
Yeah. Saved some missing episodes. And saved our Silurians. Yeah. It has one of my favorite, like, unintentionally funny moments. It's like the captain when he sees the soldiers, like, "You'll get no help from me, Silurian." Like he's a wannabe James Bond, that guy, and it's just like you can't not ham that line up, but he just plays it so straight. It's just funny.
I think he is meant to be quite a good actor at the time, wasn't he? Like quite a big actor.
He's probably like Royal Shakespeare Company. He
Yeah.
definitely has that sort of theatric vibe to him.
Yes, but where do you want to put this? How high?
I would say Warriors of a Not So Deep Storytelling. Like I enjoy it. For me, it's a guilty pleasure. It's a 7 out of 10 for me. This one.
Yeah, I would say either there or there should have been another way. So I think I'll let you have the middle spot.
Wait.
I feel that's a good place for it. But yeah, so now we're jumping forward 30 years, would this be?
Yeah, roughly.
84,
yeah. 84.
Maybe 27 years. I think 84.
Yeah, much around it.
26 to 2010. Yep, that's right. 26. There we go. I was just double checking that because I sounded so sure about it. So, yeah, Hungry Earth and Cold Bloods, the Silurians return in the new series. And I think this was at a point where I wasn't really into Classic Who too much, so I didn't care about the redesign. But you loved your Beneath the Surface DVD. So what was your initial reaction when you saw this redesign?
I didn't think it was a Silurian, to be honest. Like, I remember the trailer when it's like down the rabbit hole, one of my favorite trailers to promote a series ever. And you have like that head burst out like the grass. And it just, for me, it still doesn't resonate Silurian for me personally. It just feels so I feel like it's the worst redesign of a classic monster. But then they sort of make out in the story that they're a different clan. So
yeah, it kind of gets, don't they?
Yeah. They try and get around it, but it's like you look at the concept of what we could have got for the Silurians, and you think, yeah, that's a Silurian, that's a figure you want on your shelf. But we have these very more sort of, I guess, Poe would have been more down for these Silurians because you can see their face and their eyes, you know.
Yeah, it does feel like it could have been done in the 70s, couldn't it? In the same style as the Draconians.
Yeah, it's a bit more. Yeah, I guess it is like a half mask in a way because it's just sort of headpiece, then the mask glued on, really.
It does very much feel like the generic thing you think when someone mentions a lizard person, though.
Yeah. And this plays up to it with like the big tongue venom and sort of stuff like that.
Yeah. I think what could have saved it for me would have been just the third eye. Just like putting a red little eye on the foreheads would have worked wonders. I think I mean, all the actors in the makeup do a very good job. Like, you got Neve McIntosh making a debut here, and she's gone on to do loads of different Silurian roles, mainly, of course, Madame Vastra, which she's played quite a few times for Big Finish now, got her own series out of that. So,
I mean, I've been lucky enough to see the Silurians sort of moving about live at like Doctor Who Live. I think they were at the proms as well. So like the physicality of what the performers do so great embodying that body language what the Silurians have in it. Yeah, I had a new appreciation for the design when I saw them actually in person. I was like, oh, they're really cool.
Yeah, I think it's a good makeup job, and I think it's not a bad redesign. But yeah, certainly.
But story-wise,
it feels like it's an attempt to smother over the original design, doesn't it? At first, it's almost a mocking the original design, I suppose.
Yeah, it's not a bloke in a rubber suit now. It's a woman in not a rubber suit, but in a latex mask.
Yeah,
in a way.
But I think with hindsight, with a bit more distance, we've come around on it.
It feels more what 90s Doctor Who would have done with like the Cybes and all that. So it feels like it fits like Spider Daleks more than what you get now.
Yeah. It's weird to see the change of direction Chibnall had, because I think it was his decision, wasn't it? He wanted them to be more human, to have that more connection. But I cannot imagine like the original story having the Silurians be more authentic in their design. I can only imagine this look really now.
I think I can see it with like Richard Hope's sort of scientist character, more of a traditional look. But I think when you get the Alea and 11th Doctor sort of interrogation scene, that really suits the more human aspect of the Silurian design. When you've got him taking off the mask and sort of stuff. And that's one of my favorite moments of the actual story. Like she's saying, "Oh, I'm the last of my kind." It's like, no, you don't. I know what it's like to be the last of my kind. I was like, like Matt Smith's one of my favorite Doctors, and like it's very rare I go back and watch his stuff. But when I do, I'm like, yeah, that's why he's one of my favorites, because he's just got such a presence, and it's a joy watching him. I think he just carries stuff, and he's just all over it, and he's just a bundle of energy, and I think that's what is sort of missing with Jodie in a way. I don't want to bash Jodie, but like with Peter and Matt, if they're in a bad story, you can always say, well, at least they were good in it. They carry it at least. There is a bit of Chibnallism in it, because I noticed as soon as they arrive, there's a really bad bit of ADR. When, like, if you go back and watch this little bit, it's like when they get out of the TARDIS, it's like, the ground's moving. Like, it's really badly dubbed over it, and it's just like exposition. And you're like, you don't need that. You don't need that. Like, that line should not be there, because within like a second you've got the mind thing.
But I doubt that would have even been down to Chibnall, because all he would have really done would be the script for this one, and then directors and Moffat would have taken over after that.
Yeah, it just feels like an oddly bit of AD. Maybe because the way it's dubbed, it just sticks out like a sore thumb, and it just feels like exposition for the sake of it. I don't know.
Yes, and I mean, more Chibnallism's coming up with Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, but yeah, you do feel like you get a bit of a big cast in this one, maybe. Not really, but at least most of them have something to do. Yeah, it's not all down to the Doctor.
Because you've obviously got the two companions, Amy and Rory. You've got, is it Nazarene, Nadine, something like
that? Yeah, Nazarene.
Nazarene
Chowdhury.
She should have been a good companion, to be honest. I'm surprised she hasn't got a Big Finish box set.
She was a great supporting character in this. Played wonderfully off of Matt Smith.
Then you've got the granddad. Then you've got the dad. I love the dad. I think that's such a wholesome way of opening the story.
Yeah.
And it feels very Inferno. I mean, this whole story feels like a love letter to season 7 Doctor Who in a way. You know, you got him riding the bike, and it just feels very sort of start of Inferno of like the workmen going to the Stallman sort of drill sort of thing.
Sort of a bit of a detour here, but I watched The Lodger last night and noticed when Matt Smith is singing in the shower, it's that same tune that Pertwee does in the shower in Spearhead from Space.
Am I going to rewatch The Lodger just for that now? Absolutely.
Yes, it's a good story, but also, I didn't notice it like the other times I've rewatched it, but this time it just hit me, and it was like, oh my goodness.
See, I feel like for me, I don't know what's my least favorite of Series 5. It's either this or The Lodger.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For me, it's Vampires in Venice.
I like Vampires in Venice.
I still like Vampires in Venice. I think there isn't a bad story in Series 5, but it's the one that's the most shaky. I mean, we'll have to talk about Series 5 as a whole at some point.
Yeah, Series 5 is probably my favourite of New Who.
It's very high up there.
It was just interesting going back to it, just how stylistically different it is to what we have now. Like watching Legend of the Sea Devils and watching this today, I was like, we've come a long way, and it was weird hearing sort of, you know, like the recap of the previous episode. it was still using like the RTD music, and I was like, oh, I forgot about that. Like I thought Series 5 was like a complete like clean slate, but it still had elements from RTD with like all strange creatures and that sort of thing with like the little recap.
Yeah, and I mean even the format of it, it's past, like it's present, past, future, then a two-parter, then a couple more episodes, then you got your middle of the series two-parter, and then you find two-part finale, isn't it? It's that Russell T Davies format, his structure of series.
Yeah, it was like the fan show interview he did, where it's like if David and Catherine stayed, the show would have literally carried on as normal. So it's only like he was forced by David and Russell that he had to make those changes, really.
But even then, it's not a drastic change, but it's enough change, isn't it?
It's a shake-up to go, oh, that's different. Just from like a cosmetic turn of the series, really.
Yeah. It feels slightly cleaner in a way.
Yeah.
It suits the switched HD. Like I think Russell had a bit more grit and grain to it. Especially in the TARDIS design, whereas now the TARDIS is still like messy in its design, but it's not rough. It's more smooth. It's more warm and inviting, I'd say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we could gush about Series 5 all day, but we've got to focus down on Hungry Earth and Cold Blood here.
Yeah.
One says, oh no, for me, this is one of the better Series 5 stories. A great series, though. No episode is below great. Yeah, I'd agree there. I'd say this is probably it's in the bottom for me of Series 5.
But then that's like a slight on it.
But yeah, Series 5 is so good in general. Like, this is still going to be, well, should we say devilishly good? Is where I put it. Yeah.
It is a love letter to Pertwee era. Like it riffs off Inferno and Silurians.
Yeah, like it's still brilliant stuff, but a lot of Series 5 is brilliant. So,
what would you say your favorite Series 5 story is?
Ooh, maybe the Angels two-parter.
That's the best Weeping Angel story.
But Vincent the Doctor,
I feel like that's a cliche one to say, but it's so good.
Yeah. It's one you can't watch too much though. It's not comfort viewing. It's not something you could just stick on and enjoy. It's something you have to be ready to cry at the end of if you want to stick that on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely.
It is the most artistic, I guess, maybe is the way to say it. Doctor Who's been.
Yeah. It suits for 2010s.
Yeah. It's like it's like the rest of Doctor Who is the generic MCU movie format, and then that is your Joker / your Batman. This is the more auteur Doctor Who story, I guess. One says, for me, Vincent the Doctor is one of the weaker ones. Very overrated, still great though. Fair enough. I suppose that's sort of similar to how you, Ben, see Blink.
Yeah. I don't get Blink at all, to be honest. But that's no slight on people who enjoy it.
No.
I guess we move on to Dinosaurs on the Spaceship, really.
Yeah, we're sort of going on a couple of years into the Moffat era.
I just remembered.
Oh, what?
That's set in 2020, isn't it? Hungry Earth, Cold Blood.
Yeah, it is. That's weird.
It's a historical now.
Yep.
Yeah,
it was set 10 years in the future, and now we're 2 years past it. And the only one who wore a mask was the Silurian Doctor.
I was thinking that, the scientist. Oh dear, oh dear.
I suppose there's sort of a lockdown as well when the shield comes up.
No, true, yeah. That's true.
There we go.
And plenty of audiobooks that Elliot was listening to because, the audio industry was booming in lockdown. That's another good moment about Matt fighting. Are you scared of the monsters? Like, no, they're scared of me. Like, that is good Doctor moment. And like the way the doctors like support, like dismisses like dyslexia is like, oh no, don't worry about it. I make a bad meringue. It's like it's so wholesome. Like it's that it doesn't defy you and stuff. It's great.
Yeah,
really good stuff.
It's the stuff that you feel like Chibnall tries to do in his era, but doesn't quite work out. You can feel Moffat maybe guides it to a better place, and Matt Smith elevates it in the script. Like you have the moralizing of it with the guns here.
I was just going to say the guns, yeah.
So much better. Like the Doctor's reaction to it, he's being very friendly, but threatening at the same time.
With that little smile as well.
Yeah. And then at the end of the story, where he's not going on at the mum for killing it, but he's very much saying, "You failed here, you dumb bitch. You teach your son to be the best of humanity now. You've already lost your chance, but he's still got one. That's your moment of redemption, really." But yeah, like just so many moments like that Matt Smith does so well. And when it all falls apart, no, you were building something here. Like you feel it. It feels real. But yeah, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship.
No.
You're not a fan?
I really don't like this one.
Oh.
I have a hard time with it. I think I've really soured on Series 7.
I think it's one I'm in the mood to revisit, to be honest. But go on.
I was a big fan of Series 7. I defended Series 7. And then looking back on it now, I've fallen out of love with it, to be honest.
It's the weakest of the Smith series, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say that.
I think a while ago I would have said it was Series 6. But I feel like that one's grown on me even more. Like still nowhere up to the heights of 5, but it's still not too bad.
I think Series 7's just such a strange beast that it's 2 series in one, isn't it?
Like you have a title sequence change halfway through, companion change, which can work in the middle of the series. It doesn't have to, but
and it's going for let's bring you a blockbuster on the silver screen, and
it's overly ambitious.
It doesn't need it, to be honest.
No.
I think out of Series 7 Part A, I would say The Power of Three and Town Called Mercy are the only. I mean, Asylum of the Daleks, I used to rate like a 9 out of 10. It wouldn't even go near it now.
No, I'm not a big fan of Asylum.
I've just soured a lot on it, and that's a real shame.
Angels Take Manhattan, I quite like.
I've never liked that one.
Oh, really?
I just think it's too ridiculous.
Even
for my standards.
Other than the Statue of Liberty being a weeping angel, I feel like that was a jumping the shark moment. Other than that, I think it's quite an interesting one. Like I love the film noir aspect of it. I quite like the idea of this slaughterhouse of weeping angels, like their battery farm, isn't it? Almost, I can't remember, where they keep people to feed off the paradox created. Yeah. It's got quite a few interesting ideas like that. But yeah, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, I think it's fun. I think it's no great story, but I can stick it on, have fun with it. I think Brian is great.
Brian's good. I like Brian.
You could see the course from Wilf to Brian and then to Graham and Dan. Yeah, they're sort of like. But I think he's probably better than Graham and Dan.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Maybe because he's got Arthur Darvill to bounce off of.
Yeah.
Whereas Bradley Walsh had Tosin Cole to bounce off of. So yeah.
It's still got one of the hardest deaths what has hit me in any Doctor Who story. Tracy.
Oh,
That
okay. There's something to love or hate in that sense.
David Bradley as Solomon. He's pretty good. I mean, I think this just shows the darker aspects of Smith, and I feel like we've always, I don't know, I feel like we've always said that 11's a bit darker than 7. I feel like Smith is one of the darker Doctors, really.
It's forgotten by all the charm, isn't it? Whereas 7th Doctor sort of has all those books where people see that darker side of him. And that's what, like, the main takeaway people have from the Virgin stuff. Whereas there's so much going on. You've got Matt Smith's bubbly performance as well, that you almost miss those darker undertones, but they're very deliberately there and they're very well done.
Yeah.
Like we were saying earlier about his almost passive aggressiveness to the guns in Hungry Earth. It's brilliant stuff.
I mean, there's a great sense of urgency of it, like the missile strikes and all that sort of stuff heading. And I think the design of like the Silurian spaceship's really cool. Like it's like bones.
Yeah.
I like that sort of design of it, really. But it like you say, it suffers with having characters for no reason and a waste of historical character like Queen Nefertiti.
Yeah,
it's Madam Ching again.
Yeah, they feel a bit bizarre inclusion, but I feel like it's not too bad here because this was the exception rather than the rule that it is now, having this big group of characters. Yeah, they sort of feed into the funner aspects of it, and it's sort of like showing the Doctor having a life outside of Amy and Rory, isn't it?
Yeah. It has that nice bonding moment with, is it Brian and Rory flying the ship?
Yeah, I think that's it.
That was nicely done, but again, it's kind of one of the criticisms of the era that it's all love, which is fine. Yeah, it's a bit like, not like Closing Time and stuff like that, but it's one of those offenders in a way.
Yeah. Was it Mitchell and Webber's, the robots?
Yeah, it was. They're great.
Yeah. The robots from that game show on
that CBBC,
yeah. I remember watching that. I can't remember. Is it Mission 2110?
Yeah, that rings a bell.
The memories are coming back.
I'm surprised you. Yeah.
I mean, they were in Rings of Akaten as well, weren't they? One of them. That's it.
They got, and they're in like Red Dwarf as well. I think as well. Yeah. A lot of stuff got repurposed.
Yeah, BBC likes reuse. It's the white robots from Mission to the Unknown all over again, isn't it? Showing up in.
I mean, the Sea Devils got reused in Blake 7 just to keep it topical.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Well, the head did.
I've watched some of Blake 7, but I can't recall.
I can't tell you. I haven't seen. Can't tell you because I've never watched Blake 7 myself.
Was it the? Oh yeah, it would have been the 70s one because the 80s one didn't go around it. I mean, the Mutts got reused in
Brain and Morbius.
Yeah.
We're in Stones of Blood,
yeah. I'm looking up Sea Devil Blake 7.
Like, it feels like a nice little redesign of Sea Devils.
Yeah. I've seen the picture now. Dorian's creature. I think Dorian's one of the ones coming back in this.
Might get a Sea Devil on the cover.
Yeah. Oh no, we've already got the cover. It's the one that's coming out this month, the Heroes and Villains one.
Damn.
Let's have a look. Yeah, Dorian. He is one of them in this. Which episode is this? I want to see if it's one I've seen or not. It doesn't give me the episode it's from. Rescue. Come on. Oh, it's series 4. That's why I didn't get that far into the show. There we go. Okay. I do need to go back and rewatch, but yeah. I think they were all on Forces TV recently, so I recorded them all.
Oh, okay.
But I've just been very slowly getting through them. So
you rather rewatch something you've watched 50 times than something new.
Yeah, it's a toxic trait of ours.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that looks surprisingly good. Maybe it's just the one shot they've chosen, though.
Maybe.
Just happens to be well lit. But yeah. All right. Oof. I want to see it in Doctor Who now. I wish to. It looks better than the Sea Devils do in Warriors of the Deep.
Does it look better than the Legend ones?
Not quite.
No, okay.
I don't know, it sort of has a similar vibe because it's a bit more of a muddy look to it, I guess. Is the way to describe it. But yeah. Camera quality as well.
Yeah, the griminess of it.
Yeah, the stuff that you get away with in the 70s, that the flaws show up much more if you use the modern camera on. But yeah, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. We had a bit of a distraction there, but Stylish One says one of Smith's best performances in Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. He shows up his superb range so well, from glee to sadness to anger to joy. He's brilliant in it. Yeah, I'd agree there. I'd want to put it Warriors in the not so deep.
I'd go below, to be honest.
Oh, really? How far below?
I'd just go one tier down.
No. Up to you.
I'll be kind because you let me have Warriors, so I think it's only fair.
And it's still mid-table. It's not doing amazingly.
Like for me, it's 6 out of 10. Like it's all right. Not the worst offender of Series 7, but
no,
it's down the bottom for me.
Yeah. Speaking of Series 10, Stylish One says, I like to consider myself the #1 Bells of St. John fan. One of the best episodes of the whole show, in my opinion. Brilliant pacing, characters, Doctor Companion dynamic, and plot.
I do like Bells of St. John. That's one of the good ones.
I really loved Bells of St. John when it first came out. I think it was when I was really getting back into Doctor Who, was like Series 7B. I was starting to get the classic DVDs a lot more than I was getting hyped for the 50th. I was finding out about Big Finish, but wasn't buying it at this point. It's just something that was on my radar, I suppose, in my peripheral vision. But yeah, it was sort of like more getting the classic Who DVDs. It's sort of like a modern successor to War Machines as well, where it's like taking this newly made building London landmark with the post office tower, all the shards, and saying, what if there was something similar about this? I like that. And then it's sort of taking Wi-Fi as well, isn't it?
I feel like it's one of what Moffat does best, taking like childhood fears or like mundane stuff and turning it against us. I feel like it's one of his last ones, really. I think Listen has like the thing under your bed. What did Series 9 and Series 10 have like any sort of?
I mean, Puddles.
The Puddles scare? Oh, I don't know.
Maybe some people find it scary.
Peppa Pig doesn't.
No.
I'm trying to think. There must have been one in like.
Definitely some.
I swear, Knock Knock must be one.
Yeah, I suppose like the idea that there's more to your house than you know.
But Knock Knock, I don't like Knock Knock, so.
I like Knock Knock.
I'm glad you like Knock Knock.
I'm not upset that you don't like Knock Knock.
Well, I'm glad that you're not upset that I don't like Knock Knock, but you like Knock Knock, so it's all fine.
Knock Knock.
Who's there?
Doctor
Who?
Aha.
Legend of the Sea Devils.
Okay. Legend of the Sea Devils is here, yes.
Is it a legend?
No, it isn't. Let's be honest.
It hurts to say it. It hurts.
Sea Devils.
Like, this is. I'm going to be honest. I felt genuinely the most excited I've been for like a Doctor Who story in so long.
I kept forgetting it was on.
I mean, I did have that sort of thing of I've lost track of days, but I was like, Sea Devils are here soon. That's exciting.
Yeah, I suppose that was one of the reasons that Easter weekend you sort of lose track of what day's what. So,
but when I finished watching it, I just came out so deflated. because I feel like I'm going to sound like a real old man. I know I'm probably ancient to many people, but I found it genuinely hard to understand and follow. And like, I feel like the sound mixing was all over the place. I felt like I couldn't hear some of the dialogue, so I feel like that's maybe why I got a bit lost with it all. But I feel like the editing was all over the place. Like Jodie just magically doing like a roll in the air. I'm like, when did she learn to do that?
And like, then you have the net coming out of nowhere.
Oh, and then the random Mario jump to the ship. I'm like, oh no.
Oh, and then they could teleport later anyway. So what was the point in the Mario jump? Why not just use that weird mist effect?
I don't know.
It's like because some of the effects are really well done. Like when it's under the sea, all the stuff in the trailers was good, but then you have that weird jump and everything. Yeah, so many shot continuities all over the place. It feels like just shots are missing, whole scenes are cut. Maybe
some's, like the Sea Devil was flipped at like the intro bit.
Yeah,
from like after he got released from the net. Oh.
It's a shame because, like, for those first couple of seconds when you have the shots of the rain in the village, you think, "Oh, this is looking pretty good," and then it just drops down so quickly. You have the awkward dialogue of the like father talking to his son, where it's like, "If I die, you will be the protector now," and it's like all the.
He was awfully happy that his dad died.
Yeah, like he hugged the woman who he was trying to kill just half an hour earlier for causing the death of his dad.
Like this, I feel like looking at Madam Ching. Let's break it down to her. One thing I adore about the Chibnall era is the historical stories. I think that's when the Chibnall era has been at its strongest, looking at lesser known historical figures and putting the spotlight on them. But Madam Ching is, a renowned female pirate, and yet she was barely did anything.
It feels like you maybe shouldn't have had it be Madam Ching, just have it be a random female pirate.
Yeah, like there was nothing of substance to her. You had that bit when like her crew's been taken, so she needs that treasure. And the thing with the treasure is we never actually see them get the treasure. That we got no payoff. It's just like, here's the treasure.
Yeah, they just sort of take it at the end, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, I liked the the captain of the ship that the Sea Devils took, the guy who was in hibernation. I like the idea of him being in hibernation for all that time as well. I can't remember, but I feel like a lot of the guest actors did bring a lot to these roles. I think they're all very likable characters thanks to those guest actors, but they just don't have too much to do. Like he has that line where he's saying, "Now, this treasure can be used to do something good." Moments like that I approve of, but yeah. And then you have the awkward moment where he just stabs the Sea Devil, and the Doctor has to have this inserted moral outrage over it before that Dan then goes and slices down about 10 of them in one go.
Dan's got such a high body count.
Yeah.
Like, is he going to be like the secret weapon in the Centenary?
Who knows?
Him and his wok are going to wipe out everyone.
Yeah. It's just so forced because it feels like it's looking at other eras and going, okay, what is the Doc? It's taking the surface level of the Doctor's moral values and putting them in there for the sake of it with no real reason or thought behind it. It's just like, oh, this has happened now, so we have to have this. Same with the awful sacrifice where it's pretty much copy and paste from the Timeless Children. Yeah, Koshamus. Where it's like, he takes it and says, I'll do this. You go, no, I'm doing this. And then you get a short reason as to why it's happening. Doctor's like, okay, I'm going now.
I mean, that would have been a prime reason to get kickstart regeneration. Like, come on.
Well, if you're going to do it, do it like Russell and the classic series did, and probably Moffat did it sometimes as well. Like, where the character will knock out the Doctor. Like, the Doctor is the one who will always sacrifice themselves, but always ends up not being able to for one reason or another. She's not the one who chooses not to sacrifice herself just because the other character says they have a good reason to sacrifice themselves. It's just, I don't know. It's deflating. This story was, even though I had accepted that I wasn't gonna like it.
I just
moved
got
on from this era now. It's just like, just when you think it's bad, it gets even worse.
I just got so caught up in the hype of it, to be honest. I think that's probably my
poor
downfall. Boy. I know. I should have learned my lesson, really, because it's amazing how sort of history's repeating itself with like Evil of the Daleks. Everyone's favorite bit was the trailer for the Sea Devils. Legend of the Sea Devils. Everyone's favorite bits for Centenary trailer.
Mm.
You know, I know a lot of people. You know, said that this should have been an hour long. It should have been an hour long, to be honest, but it felt like it was missing the hour long stuff. But I will say, despite all that, I say well done to the production crew for putting on, making the story, you know, during a pandemic.
The sets are brilliant.
The sets are fantastic.
A lot of the visual effects are really good, other than that awkward jump and some other stuff. I think some people were criticizing like the way the Sea Devils talk. It's not great, but it's not bad.
I mean, it's a bloke who played Carvanista.
Yeah, it's the main one, isn't it?
It's weird that they sort of talk in their throat. Maybe because the mask. I feel like the animatronic of the mask. I don't know if the mask was actually animatronic or it was put on with CGI.
I think it was CGI afterwards. I think it was like that.
Yeah.
The photo manipulation.
Maybe that's why we didn't have like the mouth movement. It just like, would be easy to animate the neck. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I loved hearing the original Sea Devil death cry when it gets killed, like especially the stab of the leader. You have the
R.I.P. headphone users.
It's a wonderful touch. It didn't have to be there.
It's a nice detail.
I approve of it. I mean, we've already gushed over the design itself as well, and the voice was good.
I noticed with the design there is that fishnet element to it on like the lower half of like the jacket of the Sea Devil, which is a nice little touch. Because I noticed somebody said, "Oh, the Sea Devils are ruined. They don't have the nets." I'm like, have you not seen Warriors of the Deep? They don't have any of the netting there.
Yeah, like the Sea Devil, and I think someone hence, like I saw that, and someone then replied saying, Russell would never do this, or something like, no, he'd completely change the design, mate.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Sontarans? But yeah, I think I liked the idea of them being pirates.
Yeah.
It's just so much of the stuff I like is conceptual. It's like what this story could have been, not what this story actually is, and not
the
how
concept's great.
Yeah,
on paper, it's a great story. It's just I think time and just the way it was butchered in the edit, maybe.
Feels like just quite a few things went so wrong with it for some reason, and it's just disappointing.
It's just I don't know if it's like the most disappointing episode, but it's like a story we've wanted ever since Doctor Who came back. We've always sort of campaigned we want the Sea Devils back, and we get them, and you think they look great. This is looking promising, and then you come out of it going, oh well, Centenary next, isn't it?
Yeah, and then you think we're getting Tegan and Ace back, but we're gonna have the same over again. Sadly.
It just makes you worried for it because like my hand's been burnt by Sea Devils. I can't get invested in the Centenary because I'm like, it's gonna be the same.
You also have brilliant lines like "Don't let the swords touch you."
I will say the pre-title sequence of like a Sea Devil just massacring the village was like, oh, that's a bit dark and grim. And you've got the makeup.
Sure a child got killed.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is promising.
Yeah.
I mean,
even then it was awkwardly edited.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a direction or what, but it didn't seem to flow. And like the CGI of like the Sea Devil cracking from the statue, I was like, oh, we've had better, like stone breaking with like the Weeping Angel.
Yeah, I don't know why that had to happen. Why couldn't the statue just literally be a signal for them to awaken, and then they show up on the boat? And did Mario jump down?
Yeah, like they could have just grabbed like the keystone or whatever it was out of it. That could have been like a beep 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 hibernation. Out they come. That's all it needed.
Why did they leave the village if they wanted the keystone that was in the village?
Like, they were right by it because they obviously must have whacked Madam Ching. I don't understand it.
Yeah, you have the typical thing where these characters act differently based on the needs of the story. Like Madam Ching is very violent at first, very willing to kill, like the dad character and all that stuff. But then later she's softened up a bit. The actors are doing a great job though. Like, I think when she apologizes to the son for for what she did to his dad, that's great. That's well acted. It's just
it's surface level stuff, I think.
Yeah, the writing doesn't help it. And then the Doctor's like constantly antagonizing the Sea. You saw like you've called out that Sea Devils is a slur in this story. And then you have the Doctor continuing to call them it, and you even have Yaz going one further and calling him Thin Face.
Well, like got. I swear people have like misheard one bit. It's like the Sea Devil calling like the Doctor and Yaz the T word.
Yeah, like he's tried to say quiet, but something else slips out. Now that I've heard that, I cannot unhear it when I see that.
And it makes perfect sense with like the land, like the Sea Devil, like, oh, I've had enough of your crap, mate. I just don't know how to feel. Like the bit when you get the Sea Devil captain reunited with the other Sea Devils on the ship, like, oh, that looked great.
Yeah,
like nothing's really done with it, to be honest.
No, you never really see many of the others doing anything. No. Like the Doctor and Yaz are just allowed to walk freely around the ship, which feels.
And you have them climbing, like, is it Madam Ching's ship? You're like, why don't they just Mario jump onto it?
Yeah. Because they can do that now, or teleport onto it.
Yeah, you think, well, why are they climbing it?
I think cool visual, but I mean, it looks better than them jumping onto it.
Yeah, I'll take that. I think the big sea creature, were they try and tie into like Chinese mythology?
I can't remember what it was called. It wasn't the Merker in the end.
No, which
I'm glad I called that. It's not.
I feel a little bit disappointed now because I think everyone was just like, it's the Merker, it's great. Chibnall's gone and done it. But I admire that they try to link it to Chinese mythology. I'm a big fan of that. But yeah, I would have preferred the Merker.
Yeah.
I mean, what actually happened to it? Does that stay living, or did it actually get?
I'm assuming it got trapped in the cave.
Did it get
the Sea Devil base when it got like crushed or whatever?
I don't know. It's just occurred to me now, like, what happened to that? Yeah. Or did it stay a legend like the Loch Ness Monster? I don't know.
Pain Cyberman says, I'm glad everyone could feel the pain of disappointment like I did with Eve of the Daleks. Oh, we felt it with Eve as well, or at least I did.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh. It just didn't. It's not the one, Chief. I mean, what did you think of like the ending of the beach stuff?
That wasn't too bad, but it just feels very surface level stuff.
I feel like it gave Jodie a little bit more meat to perform. Like I felt like, oh, we're actually giving Jodie some more stuff to delve into instead of surface level. There's a bit more subtext within the scene.
Yeah, that's true.
The whole sort of jewelry thing with like the magnetic stuff, I'm like, surely everything metal should be like shifting.
Yeah, that feels bizarre. It's like very much the needs of the story rather than logic.
Yeah, it's like Dan's hook as well. Like, surely that would have flown off.
Yeah,
but then
the fact that she's in pain walking along and Yaz and Dan are just following, like, you're right there, Doc. Just
yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I did find it funny when the Sea Devil called him Land Parasite.
Yeah,
but then
there's a sassy boy.
Yeah, it just has no depth to it.
Oh, see what he did there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, even when these stories are treading the same ground, at least they've got something to say there about it, where it's, that they both have a claim to the planet, a rightful claim. In this story, you have Jodie saying they regard it as their planet. It's the same awkward politics as the line in Survivors of the Flux, where she says these displaced people will be looking for a home. They'll want to invade Earth. It's just like, it's not written with the intention of being this far right, oh, we hate foreigners rubbish, but it's the way it can be read, unfortunately. It's just this whole era is so defeatist and accepting of the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I saw someone point out that what was it, the line where I can't fix myself, even though she is talking about fixing herself to a certain point, there's a pause after it which makes you think she's talking about, problems with her, like, improving herself mentally.
She's socially awkward.
It's like just that acceptance of, life shit, deal with it. Whereas Russell
Planet's
and
screwed.
Moffat when Russell and Moffat, particularly Russell, when they're writing, they hate the status quo. They are writing to change it. They want the world to be better. They are angry. Like Russell, especially, he is angry. He wants to write.
He's the right person to have.
He's got stuff to say. Chris Chibnall doesn't have anything to say. He's just like, yeah, the status quo is a bit shit, but it is what it is, isn't it? And that's why there's no drive to this current era, it feels like.
Yeah.
Pitch Skull Blacks here says, I give it a 4 out of 10 personally. Pain Sideman, there was never depth. It all just feels like first drafts. Yes, I can agree with that. There's a lot of first draft feeling going on. So, face it, Tegan, it's shit, or there should have been another way.
I was thinking the first one,
Really? No. I won't stop you. I won't stop you if you...
No, I would... No. I don't want to say it's like one of the most disappointing episodes, but it's a contender.
I suppose because it's on its own as well. It's this special in the middle of the year. It's this island in the middle of the sea. Whereas other bad episodes are usually in the middle of a series. Yeah. So you at least have the next one afterwards sort of not necessarily wash the bad taste out of your mouth with, because it's just another bad taste often, but it sort of all blends into one there, whereas this is very much an event on its own.
It tries to be a romp, but it never quite swings and hits the ship.
No.
It falls flat into the sea.
Yeah.
Like, thinking back to, like, Planet of the Dead, like, yeah, that's a nice, fun little romp of an adventure. I don't feel like it justifies it being a special.
No, it really doesn't.
Like, I get we're lucky to have it, but I feel like in the grand schemes of Doctor Who, it's just going to be one of those episodes like, oh yeah, it happened.
Yeah,
and that's a sad thing, really.
It's just forgettable, really, at the end of the day.
And I think it just kind of proves that. I think, I said I saw a tweet earlier what just sort of summed up sort of the Chibnall stuff for me. It's like, if you like Chibnall stuff, you're very much going to like the same thing. If you don't like it, you're going to have the same problems regardless. And I think you've just come to the terms going, yeah, Chibnall's era of Doctor Who is not for me. If it's for you, great, fantastic. But, like you say, we've just got one episode to carry on with, and then it's done. And we can look back on it in a couple of years' time and maybe reappraise it.
Yeah, like, none of the flaws we've noticed here are really new. There's stuff that's been popping up throughout the era, sadly.
I think I had hope because I really love Flux. I had such a good time with Flux. But then, you think, oh, we're into momentum. It's a final run for Jodie. They're going to be pulling out all the stops. And I always admired the ambition, and the shows just never look so good. it just sadly the story isn't there to back it up.
Yeah, that's it, really, isn't it? And I mean, did you see that horrible talk radio interview though?
That was horrible.
Yeah. But like, this is the type of episode that they want. Like he says, just put all the money into the effects, make the monsters look good, and don't worry about what you're putting into the script. That's what the guest pretty much said, and that's what we get with Legends of the Sea Devils, really.
But yeah, it's a story on paper where you're like, I want to experience it, and then you'd finish it. And you're like, yeah, it wasn't what I imagined it to be. But I still love my Sea Boys, despite them barely featuring much in it.
Yeah, it's like the one where they're the main focus as well, because Sea Devils, that's the Master story. Warriors of the Deep, that's the Silurian story. Legend of the Sea Devils is the Sea Devil story, and they're still hardly in it. Come on, Storm of the Sea Devils. Fourth Doctor Adventures, we're counting on you.
I did listen to the Bernie Summerfield one, actually.
How was that?
I enjoyed it. I like it's not groundbreaking. I mean, I'll take it over Legend of the Sea Devils, but it's not great. But
poor Sea Devils.
I mean, I will re-listen to Tidal Wave just to see how that fares.
I think that was the best of that box set, wasn't it?
Yeah.
At least.
I will give that one a go. But where shall we put Legend of the Sea Devils?
It's definitely one at the bottom too.
Oh yeah.
Chat, let us know which of the bottom two do you think it should go in? If you are of the same opinion of us.
Yeah.
I mean, there might be some in there who do feel like it belongs at the top. Say if you do think it belongs further up, let us know. But if enough people put it towards the top, we might put it in. There should have been another way, just to be nice.
Yeah. I think because I've only watched it once, I'm going off my gut reaction. I feel like maybe a rewatch I'll probably have a firm judgment, but I can't see it changing that much.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. Pain Cyberman, Mr. Cactus say second from Luke Bushnell says second from bottom, and Pitch Skull Black. Mr. Cactus does say bottom, but I think it's more unanimous for second to bottom.
Yeah.
Pitch Skull Black said it has a lot of good ideas, so second from bottom. Yeah, I think that's it. There's a lot of good ideas here. It had so much potential. So, like we say, there should have been another way. It should have been done better, but wasn't. So,
I think that's the best quote to sum it up. To be honest.
Yeah,
I think that's very fitting. But yeah,
there we go. Fairly even distribution there. 2-1.
Yeah.
2-1.
Well, we are the satisfying tier list kings.
We've been nice to the new series. We got Jeff Stoll plus Cold Blood up there. So
it's a Chibnall script. So we're not Chibnall haters.
Yeah, Chibnall wrote most of these stories here actually.
Yeah,
wrote 3 of them. Then Malcolm Hulk did the top 2, and I think it's Johnny Breen.
Yeah, Johnny Byrne. He did Arc Infinity, didn't
he? Yeah, and I think he did Keeper Traken as well, I swear.
Oh, that's very fitting for you.
Yeah. I'm gonna check that. Just because
I mean it rings a bell.
Yeah.
It rings a bell.
I might be being a bit too confident in that.
I think he does, because I think he did a book, a Kipper of Traken for the cookbook.
Yeah, he did. Johnny Bennett.
Yeah, so I feel like that's a safe thing to say.
He did one of the Lost Stories as well, didn't he?
Was it the Guardians of Prophecy?
That's probably it, because that's Traken related. He did do Arc Infinity as well. And Warriors of the Deep, and I don't think he did any after that. No, he was gone by it. This was his last one for the series. That's wild how we live in a world where there's something worse than Warriors of the Deep, said Painside Man. Yeah, Legend of the Sea Devils at least means that Warriors of the Deep isn't the worst Sea Devil story now.
No. That's a sad thing to say, isn't it? That's really sad. It's one of those stories where I want to love it because I'm such a huge fan of the Beneath the Surface box sets. But then it comes down to like, maybe not.
You gotta admit it's a guilty pleasure, sadly.
Oh, but that's pretty much us, isn't it, really?
Yeah. Bitch Skull Black points out the ranking makes an F, which is what the Sea Devils got in the chat with Legend of the Sea Devils. Very true. Mr. Bonk actually says, I don't know, I want to watch some YouTube. You are watching YouTube.
You're watching YouTube. Yeah. I mean, last time I checked, unless we've moved to another platform.
We got our streams crossed.
Easily done. Dan can kill Sea Devils, but Graham can't kill Tim Shaw. That's very true.
Yeah, Jodie only approves of murder when it's not avenging a loved one.
Oh. Silly Jodie.
Oh. Which is 13th Doctor, not Jodie the actor. It's hard with doctors, isn't it? Because you sort of have sometimes when specifying a doctor, you say the actor's name when you're not.
Or you say their surname, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it becomes like shorthand instead of going the 13th Doctor. Just quicker to go Jodie.
Yeah, like sometimes I will say Tom and Sarah when I'm talking about the 4th Doctor and Sarah.
Yeah, and you know exactly what you mean because we're sad. We're sad like that.
Because when you talk about Tom and Liz, you're thinking, but it was the Pertwee and Liz.
Yeah. You got it wrong, man. You can't mend
reverse
people.
it. We're just descending into quotes now. What's the use of a good quotation if you can't change it?
Oh, damn.
There we go.
I think the Sea Devils need a two-parter. Most of the villains, including their Silurian cousins, have one. Just saying RTD.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the costumes lying around, so...
Yeah, and I don't know if the costume person's staying on.
I think they might be going, I don't know. Apparently some members of production are staying on.
Oh, which is nice.
But as well, the designer of Legend of the Sea Devils, the one who tweeted out on Twitter about it being November, said their second to last one. Also. I could be misremembering there, though.
But I think that's pretty much us done, unless there's any last questions you want to ask.
Yeah, get in a last minute question if you want us to say our thoughts on anything before we go.
I mean, there's going to be plenty of streams coming up. Maybe an extra one this week or an extra two. Who knows?
Yeah, it just depends what time we have free, really, isn't it? Like you say, we've got 3 different Big Finish fans specifically planned and nearly ready to go. So, certainly, I think one of them just takes a fair bit of re-listening. It doesn't have to, but I feel like it's justified to, because those stories we've not listened to for a while. It's a big tier list, but so many of them are sort of forgotten.
It seems only fair. Doctor of War, baby. Oh, that's an interesting one. Maybe we can do like an Unbound tier list.
I mean, you're not quite vibing with Doctor of War as much, are you, compared to Outlaws?
I'm enjoying Doctor of War like surface level. Like I'm enjoying it, but I couldn't tell you what the hell's going on. And I think it's a deliberate thing, and I think it's going to be one of those things where you re-listen to it and it makes perfect sense. And I feel like we've only got half of the jigsaw, really.
Yeah, that's true. 'Cause it is planned as a 6-parter, isn't it?
Like, I really am vibing with what they're doing, with how they use Perry. and it feels wrong to say it, but it feels like the most Time War story Big Finish have done. Yet it's not official Time War.
Does it not feel generic Time War? Because I feel like that's good. Because sometimes the Time War stories can feel a bit samey, and not for me.
It's hard to like describe it without spoiling it. Pain Silent, it's a really confusing. I feel like I need a mind map and like a whole thing to like put it all together. But there are so many good like ideas within it. Like the first 15 minutes is like free, isn't it? If you use like a certain code.
I have listened to that. I haven't bought the set itself yet, but will do.
That's definitely worth your time. Tom Baker gives one of his best performances and like a nice sort of
alternative regeneration, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's wrong to say. It's wrong to say recreation. That's another thing that sort of confuses me because I don't know. I can't say.
Is it like, does it play into it again a bit later on?
No, it's like because the timelines are all skew with the Doctor of War only wants one Doctor. So a part of me is like, did he shoot Tom in the end, or did he actually regenerate naturally from whatever? Like, I'm confused by it. Could just be me misinterpreting it or whatever.
Yeah, I do prefer the way this seems to have kickstarted a Time War in that the Doctor is thrown right into the middle of it. It's not something that's necessarily built up, because a Time War wouldn't build up slowly. And I think that's the awkward thing about Gallifrey, for example. You think it would be much more messy, much more non-linear. And that's something that I think a lot of Big Finish releases almost feel too linear in their approach to the Time War.
Yeah.
Like, some of them can be non-linear within themselves. Like, Palindrome is very weird. But when it comes to the big picture of the Time War, it feels, ever so slightly awkward.
I mean, yeah, John Dorney's definitely knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, he wrote the first one, to Dust Devil.
Yeah. It's a good one. It's a good one. It's an interesting idea. It's an interesting one. And like
roles in it.
They're all right at the minute. They're all right, but I will say the way they used the planet Iridius, so cool. Like, it's such a real. It was like, that makes perfect sense.
I do like my chase, so always
I mean,
to see that planet back.
It's the weakest part of the chase.
Yeah.
But I can't unsee what John Dorney's done to Iridius now.
Oh no. I mean, it's Unbound though, so Iridius in the main timeline's probably fine. I mean, it's still not doing great. Its oceans are dried up. Most of its people are eaten by the weird beast things, but
I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler to say they return.
Do they? I suppose it makes sense. If you bring back the Iridians, you might as well bring back.
And we had the
Maya beasts. That's it.
We had like was it the Visions back as well?
Oh, what, in Doctor
Dark Universe? No, in Dark Universe. Yeah.
Yeah, they were in the first episode.
Yeah.
We're back on Myra. Yeah, Terry Nation loves his invisible monsters, doesn't he?
Hey, it's cheap on the budget.
Yeah. Payne Cyberman says, wish he'd write for the show, in reference to John Dorney. Yeah, hopefully at least some Big Finish writers get carried over to the show, because when Russell came back originally, he brought over quite a few writers from expanded media, didn't he? Like Paul Cornell, Rob Shearman. And so you think there is a chance that these newer writers that he's worked with together do different things with Big Finish that he would think of for the show itself.
Oh, Scott Hancock's definitely coming.
Yeah, he worked on the show, didn't he? As like a runner.
Yeah.
At first, production assistant.
I think Scott Hancock's definitely going to take a production role with Russell.
Yeah, I wonder if Nick Briggs will finally write one, because I remember there was an interview where Russell says he did regret not asking Nick to write a story for the TV show. So
that would be interesting to see what Nick would, with the guidance of Russell. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah,
what he does.
I mean, it's a time for taking risks and experimentation. Like with Star Wars, Mandalorian, you had Dave Filoni stepping into live action for the first time. Like he'd still been involved in Star Wars for a while. He'd been known by the fans. And so you think with someone like Nick, who's been known by a lot of fans, even the ones who aren't fans of Big Finish, he's still like known as the voice of the Daleks and such. It would be interesting to step out of his comfort zone and do a TV story. It's just, I guess it all depends on if he has time, because he might be asked and have to refuse just because of how much is going on.
He'll do it.
Yeah, he'll find a way. There's no way he'd turn it down. But
he's found a way to do Human Frontier and Jekyll and Hyde, so he's got plenty of time.
Yeah. Matthew Donovan, hello. He says, sorry I'm late. I forgot this was on. Not for much longer, I'm afraid. I think we are drawing to a close, but thank you for joining us in our
thank you. Moments. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
It's the end, but the moment has been prepared for.
There's a lot of Iron Doctor of War.
No. There's a lot of quotes in this stream. We have to apologise for getting to say Kildamarsh, Davros, in our Russell D. Davis stream. We were all over that in the stream before. And then we just completely forgot.
Kildamarsh. We're fake Russell fans, oh dear. No. I'll be watching the whole thing after, lol. There you go. Good man. Appreciate that.
Your commitment.
Yeah. Let's have a quick skim through the chat to see if there's any last little things we might have missed while we were doing the tier list. I think that's pretty much just all done, I think, for tonight.
Yeah. So I'm going to scroll, see if there's anything. So this one says, Evil Yaz and Master Theories are back. It's Spyfall all over again. Yeah, I saw someone talk about the possibility of him having hypnotized her.
I like that theory, to be honest.
I like it, but I feel like it's not going to happen just because it's something that would
seems too clever
to be interesting. Yeah. It's sad to say it, but yeah, it feels
very Big Finish material.
It feels like it would work too well for the current show to be interested in doing it.
Yeah. Sad.
Oh, someone pointed out that that Tegan lost her Aunt Vanessa to the Master. Her good friend Adric, well,
would you say Adric's a
exaggeration? But she was upset when he died. Her fellow traveller to the Cybermen, and then she ended up losing her life with the Doctor to the Daleks because it was too much for her with all their killing. And so, after all that, all the trauma she had with her time on TV, she's coming back to face the Master, Cybermen, and Daleks
with a gun. She's armed this time. She ain't messing around, Tegan.
She's covering up her emotions. But yeah, it was a shame to think that probably won't do anything with it. Similar to how when Jack was brought back, he had his missing memories thing. And so there's like that possible connection there with the Doctor going through pretty much the same arc. Where she finds out some of her memories have been missing, or a lot of them, but nope, it doesn't get brought up. Nuances and a thing.
Do you think we'll actually get the wrap up of the Timeless Children in the Centenary?
I think we'll get an attempt at it, maybe, but I think Chris Chibnall has said in interviews that was more to open things up for other creators to do stuff with, sort of open up the Doctor Who world more, even though it didn't particularly need it. And now he's saying Russell will probably ignore it.
Those articles are so clickbaity.
Yeah.
But I think that's a tendency for every showrunner who takes on. They change it. They destroy what the other showrunner did. You know, Moffat's view of the time was completely different to Russell. And then Chibnall scraped everything back and was like, well, let's bring back the classic monsters. It's interesting how sort of the Chibnall era started to where it's finished, you know, because Series 11, we're going to have barely any callbacks for the show. It's going to be completely fresh. It's going to be like the War Games to spare from space. That's, I think, what he said in like interviews. Whereas now you're getting old companions coming back, monsters. You know, it feels very one for the fans.
But it's the Master and the Cybermen again.
Yeah.
Again.
But with Daleks. And taking an ace. You know, exciting.
Maybe Zygons and Autons as well.
Maybe, yeah. And David Bradley and the other doctors in it, because they were seen in Cardiff too.
Oh, dear. So much.
Oh.
Matthew Donovan says, I want to know how Tegan and Ace know each other. Have they just met, or is there a WhatsApp group for friends of the Doctor? Yeah, it feels like they've known each other at least a little while before the start of this one.
They've got their own like Linda, but for companions.
Yeah.
Ace started like a charity to get all the companions who've been affected by the Doctor. Like, oh, don't worry, we're shelter.
Counselling group.
Yeah, like a counselling. Yeah. Maybe.
But yeah, I mean, certainly. Because Russell sort of set it up that they can find each other with Sarah looking into other companions. And obviously we got that meet up between her and Joe. So yeah, it's not outside the realms of possibility that people who know the Doctor would run into each other. Because a lot of the time they do seem to like continue in that line of work, I guess you would say. Of like looking into things and fighting injustices where they find them. And so it makes sense that maybe they'd come across each other in doing so. They both knew the Brigadier as well, so maybe he put them in touch or something.
Well, they've all been into the Black Archive, haven't they?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, maybe Kate's somehow the connection. Maybe they're working with UNIT.
What, the Sontaran Resistance Group?
Yeah, maybe that's it. Oh, do you think they're going to be back for this?
Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised at this point. I'll take it. It's going to be a chaotic mess, but you know what? I'm here for it.
It seems like they've thrown so much in at this point. Throwing something else in won't make a difference.
Oh, yeah. It feels wrong, but it's not there if it's not. Oh, damn. Yeah. Weeping Angels back, yeah?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Throw it all in. Kroll coming back. It just has that sort of Series 11, like everyone's sort of theory that the Series 11 finale would be like all the big bads coming back because the 13th Doctor lets them get away. We're going to get Krasko back, or we're going to get...
Oh, yeah.
You know, it just feels like that, really.
Kablam Man back.
She dies by bursting bubble wrap.
Oh, no. That's the regeneration. What if, the master props leak that happened?
Yeah.
What if the Kablam Man just turns up holding that box, gives it to the Doctor, gives it to the Master, sorry, and then leaves? And that's how he gets all his devices.
I mean, it makes sense. Do you think like the Master has like prime delivery on Kablam?
Yeah. What if the Master's the CEO of Kablam?
Maybe. Oh, there we go.
Doctor shouldn't have let that business keep running now.
Oh dear.
I think he's got too much of a conscience for that.
Oh, jeez. I like Kablam.
Space Amazon.
Side with the company, not the workers.
The systems aren't the problem.
It's the people.
Oh, what happened to the guy at the end of Spyfall Part 2? Yeah, Daniel Barton. Surely he's got to be back because he was left.
Plain thieves.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear, oh, dear.
I think, time to say goodbye now before
what should I say?
Insanity.
Plain thieves, yeah.
Kill the Marge, everyone.
Kill the Marge. We'll see you probably for a Big Finish fans, whether it be Memory Bank, The Outlaws, novel adaptation tier list. We've got plenty. It'll be one of those. Probably not novel adaptations. That'll be next week.
Yeah, I think we've still got a few of those to re-listen to first.
Yeah, but for now, Kill the Marge. That has been us. That has been our Sea Devil tier list and Silurian tier list. Thank you, everyone, for watching and joining us. Been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, lurkers who have not been in the chat. We appreciate you. We appreciate you all. Even the mad comments, we appreciate it. We're all here for it because, hey, we all want to have a lovely community and talk about Docky Who. So thank you everyone for joining us, and we shall see you very soon.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Thank you and goodbye.